Yes, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whoever you support, you're more than welcome. If you're a Liverpool fan, thank you for saving the Spurs embarrassment just by a little bit this weekend. And if you're an Arsenal fan, please go away. Just kidding, just kidding. Before we start, please, a bit of admin. Smash the like button. Know where your fire escape is. And also, if you would like to buy a coffee, it is pinned. If you don't, then don't. Maz, Lubo, good evening, chaps. I wish I was seeing you on under better circumstances. But how
you only roll me out when we lose.
You what, sorry?
You only roll me out when we lose.
To be fair, I've asked you about 9 times in the last 10 weeks.
Mate, I know.
Apparently, his wife's had a birthday every Sunday for the last 10 weeks. So, you know how it is. Are we good? Everyone good?
All good today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, good.
Really good.
In a pragmatic way, all good.
By the way, guys and girls, there's something wrong with my settings, by the way. So if I pull up messages and it all looks a bit weird, I will sort it out in due course. Guys, it's a difficult one, really, because whilst we know Aston Villa are a good team, whilst we know it's not just that we rock up and win games of football, the optics are that we've now won 1 of 4 home games. Yes, we're 6th in the Premier League. Yes, we're 2 points off second, if you want to look at it that way. But the natives are restless. Maz, we'll talk about the game in broader terms in a little bit, but why is everyone so, why is there drama, Frank out and this is shit and we're the worst team ever, as though we've lost 8 games in a row? What's happening, mate?
Because I think they're not honest with themselves. If they understood where we've come from in terms of the tenure with Angepostecoglou and him blowing 400 million on a lot of average players, some of them really poor, what do you expect Frank to do? So I can, and they're outraged at things that they weren't outraged last season. Half of the fan base, were okay with us losing 22 games last season. Now, when we've only lost 2 in 8, they're outraged.
Yeah,
and they're moaning about the players, or this player, that player, or why aren't we more attacking and all of that. Well, when we were all gun home, we were shipping goals for fun, and we're having injuries left, right, and centre. Some people were okay with it. So yeah, I hear you. It's a bit nuts, the situation at the moment. I don't think there should be any panic. That's not to say that we're not going to go into the tactics and the game and what Frank should have done or should not have done. But when you take a step back and you look at what we have done thus far, well, we're tied with Chelsea. We're up there with Liverpool and Man City. We're 6th or wherever we are in the league, and we should be happy with where we are. Not happy about the result, but we should be happy with where we are overall.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't disagree. I mean, Lubo, as I said, we'll get to the actual game in a minute. But when the dust kind of settles a little bit and we take away the emotion, Maz is right. We've lost 2 out of 8 games. We've lost a quarter of our games in the Premier League. We've lost 2 out of 8. We are 6th, 2 points off second. We're 1 point behind last season's champions, Liverpool, and Arsenal are gone. We're nowhere near Arsenal. But is everything as bad as people are making it out? Isn't this about where we should be after 8 games in a Premier League season?
I think that as Maz said, when you consider where we came from, when you consider where we are with the squad, and we are short in several positions, and it's Frank's been here 4 months, 3 months, 3 months. Beginning of July, I think he started with the first team. So, and here we are coming towards November, so nearly 4 months. I've been on before and I've said, it's going to be an up and down first half of the season. If we can get a couple of very good players in the January window, then we'll have a better second half of the season. This is where we are. Don't be too downhearted. if the performance today had been like it was against Bournemouth or to an extent against Wolves,
sure,
then that's one thing. But Villa, apart from Vicario punching clear across, what did they have to do the whole game? Seriously, I mean, we got beaten, we got undone by two very good goals that we'll go into later. But it's that's where we are. We're gonna win some we don't deserve to win. We're going to lose some we don't deserve to lose. It's going to be very hit and miss for the first half of the season, maybe the whole season, depending on whether he buys the players he needs in January.
Yeah. I mean, look, let's move to today's game, and then we could talk broader about transfers and where we're at, etc. But Maz, it's an interesting one, right? Because if I look at the game today, I look at the lineup, and the lineup is, we can argue, is that as strong as Spurs get? Like, loads of people. What am I trying to say, Maz? When you get to the end of the game, loads of people with the revisionism. Oh, I can't believe he started him, and he started him. I'm looking at the players coming off the bench and thinking, did he really get anything wrong? What did you make of the lineup? Did he get anything wrong?
I think he fielded the best team he could field that he had available to him. Albeit you could argue maybe Sarr would have been pretty good in that sort of combative midfield type game where you need him to run box to box. But that's more of a tactical thing. What other combination have we got that's going to be any better? If Maddison and Kulu were fit, then there's an argument to say, okay, you'll put maybe Xavi on the left, Maddison in that 10 role, and Kulu, I don't know, Kulu can stay on the bench or whatever, or maybe Kulu plays on the left, and Maddison slots into that Bentancur number 8 role if he can do it. Maybe he can't. Maybe you have to drop one of them. Who knows? But I looked at that lineup and I sighed to myself. For me, it's like Groundhog Day. Every time we look at that team sheet, you just think, why haven't we fixed this diabolical state of a squad or a team that we've got? And we talked about this backstage. If you take the summer window in isolation and you say, okay, we're going to sign 3 top quality players, which is what most of us have been saying now for 2, 3, 4 years, we would have said, yeah. But when you consider that Ange just spent 400 million quid and we're no better for it, really, let's be honest, you think, well, what do we expect? So that's my thoughts on the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, Lubo, it was the same 11 that played against Leeds, other than Adogi, who we know has got a minor, a minor irritation, I believe was the term used. It was the same 11 that beat Leeds. Most people seemed very happy. Lubo, I don't know about you. I thought we were the better team today. I thought we actually, I don't think Villa really troubled us. Other than the 2 goals, I don't remember, I think 1 shot in the side netting, maybe from Donny Marlon.
That was all.
Other than that, I thought we were comfortable.
Without being dangerous. You never felt we were going to score, did you?
No. I never did.
From the first after going 1 up, you never thought that's a good shot. Yeah, apart from Johnson at the end, if he'd have just shown a little bit of composure, then he should have buried that, because he didn't have any. There was no pressure on him. He had time to take it down, shape his body correctly, and pick his spot. And he didn't, unfortunately.
Don't get me started on Tellen Odeberg, because between those 2, they had some chances today, or missed chances, if you will, to get shots in on goal. And
I think Tell's not a natural centre forward. I think when you saw
what's it natural in anything?
No,
I don't think he's natural.
Okay, but do you know what? Odeberg's cut in. He's hit the shot. Martinez hasn't held it, and Tell's the wrong side of the defender. Now, a fox in the box will be sniffing that out. He'll be looking for the ball off the keeper, and he'll be, as soon as he sees Odeberg shooting, he'll be on the move. Unfortunately, Tell wasn't. For me, the biggest disappointment today was Simmons. I thought he was absolutely dreadful. He looked like a little boy lost out there. honestly.
No, but what can he do? Like the thing is, when you look at Aston Villa and how they set up, they were set up to counter Spurs.
He went on seven dribbles, Maz. He got dispossessed every time.
But he had two players around him all the time. Look, I hear you, right? He didn't have a great game. I agree with you, Ian, right? But the boys just come from a different league. He had an injury as well, right? We know his quality because we've seen him internationally and the various clubs he's been at. We have to allow him time to settle in.
Maz, we're just talking about today's performance in isolation, aren't we?
Sure,
we're just talking about today's game. I'm not talking about, obviously a player comes across from another country, from another league. He's only 22. He's going to need time to settle. I understand all of that. But just talking about today's game.
He was very poor.
I thought it was poor. And,
do you not think that will be helped? I want to ask you.
Go on.
Do you not think that will be helped though? Like as a playmaker, listen, I'm not letting him off. I thought he was poor today, but we've seen glimpses of his quality. We've seen what he can do for Netherlands and RB Leipzig. Do you not think it doesn't help that the two key positions that he needs to link up with is a centre forward and a winger? And he's got Odegaard on the outside too. We'll talk about him later. And he's got absolutely no one to pay the ball into up front. No one. Do you not think that doesn't help him when he looks up and he's going, oh, God, I've got to give it to one or two and I don't trust either of them?
It doesn't help. But when you take it, there were so many factors. For me, I thought it was, although you could say we were the better team than Villa, I thought that was a real below average performance. It wasn't poor like Bournemouth was, but I couldn't get excited at all. And apart from the goal, and thinking, unfortunately, that Kudus had made it 2-0 and going up then. Nothing got me off my seat. I thought it was really, the whole thing was poor. We gave the ball away an awful lot. There were so many factors. Simmons had a bad game. I think Odegaard missed. He was involved at times, a lot more than Tell. I think he missed Udogie wide. Spence playing on the left is not right. It doesn't look right. Whenever Spence goes forward, he has to check back all the time and play it square. You give the defence time to reorganise and get their shape. That doesn't help. Bentancur doesn't play forward balls. We were missing Romero playing through the lines. There was so much today. And the way we give the ball away, nobody's got any confidence. It's like a hot potato.
Hang on, but Lubo, I want to question this. So I'm going to question this. And on this channel, I ask difficult questions, right? I know everyone just likes to... I hear this a lot. Oh, we give the ball away a lot. Confidence. I'm going to say it's the ability. I look at this team. Which midfielders, when people go, oh, we don't keep the ball in midfield and we don't... Which midfielders do we possibly have that naturally their game is to keep the ball, pass through the lines? We've bought Papa Sarr, who's a runner, right? We've bought Bergvall, who's a runner. We've bought Paulinho, who's by the way, we'll get to him later. He was absolutely phenomenal. We bought Paulinho, who's a destroyer, right? Bentancur is Mr. Say 5-yard pass right or left.
Yeah.
Archie Gray, we just don't know, right? So when I look at those 5 centre mids, who is it that people think are going to play and suddenly we're going to be this keep ball possession team that pass it nicely? We haven't bought that calibre of player, Lubo. It's not what we've bought.
Well, we're lacking, you look at a Tonali who plays in the 8, doesn't he?
He's different gravy compared to what we've got.
No, that's right. Yeah. That's right. So you're looking at him. You're looking at a Rice or Zubamendi. You're looking at the boys at Liverpool got in their midfield. Virch can't even get in at the moment. He's another one that's made a poor start. But they've all got quality.
Lubo, even a Gomez at Wolves. Yeah. Even Wolves have got one that gets the ball. He's always available. Give me the ball. I'll set the tempo. We've gone and bought very poorly in midfield for years. And the problem is, Lubo, and I'll call it out, every one of them gets raved about. Sarr gets raved about. Bergvall gets raved about. Gray gets raved about. They all get raved about. but our midfield has no fluidity to it because none of them are passers of the football.
You see, this is why I would throw Gray in now, because I think for home games, I would do. No, you're shaking your head.
I know you would.
No, because it's not.
Give him a run. He can pass the ball. You look at the ball to Sonny against Ipswich. You look at the ball to was it Johnson in Istanbul when he put it across for.
But you're not going to drop. You're not going to drop.
Hang on. They were 40, 50-yard passes that were right on the button. So give the kid a chance. If he's not good enough, he's not good enough. But give him a run. Frank rates him as an 8, not as a 6. Forget the 6. Palini are there. Unfortunately, we don't have another 6. God forbid he gets suspended or injured. We're in trouble because we don't have another 6 there. So for me, give Gray a chance as an 8. If we're saying Sar's a runner, Bergvaul's a runner, Bentancur's square ball, then there's nothing to lose if we're pinpointing the fact that we don't have an 8 that's playing balls through the line.
The problem we've got...
Might as well give him a chance if he's not strong enough physically.
But here's my problem with that. This is why I think that Bentancur can't be dropped, because if you don't have Bentancur in there, you've got Odegaard, who's not very good and not that well established in the team. You've got Tell up front, right, who is useless. You've got the second most useless player in Richarlison to back him up, right? You got a new guy, Xavi, who's young also, but he's experienced, right? But he hasn't got good players around him. And as soon as he gets the ball, always, in every game I've seen play, he always has 2 players run to him straight away because they know that he can cause damage if he's given the space. So, and you've got Kudus, who I think Kudus is in danger of either getting injured, right, or just running himself ragged to the point where he just starts making silly mistakes because he's constantly trying to make something happen. He looks like, to me, sometimes he looks like he's forcing it, but he's such a good player. Anyway, I don't want to make that come across as a criticism. I think it's just the way that the team is currently playing. So you remove Bentancur, who does have the experience, away from that midfield, and you've got big problems because there's no one like a Bentancur that can grab the ball and
Maz, do you know what? Do you know what I said, Maz? I said this to Lubo earlier, didn't I, Lubo, on the WhatsApp? My big thing, and I think this might be a little bit about what you're talking about, Maz. You'll tell me if I'm on the wrong page here. When I look at other teams play compared to us, I feel like we look, apart from 3 or 4, we look really powder puff. We look weak. Yeah. Right? We look like boys versus men. Now, I'll tell you what I mean. When I watched the Man U Liverpool game, now, again, I'm not going to wax lyrical about Man U because they beat Liverpool, but you watched Mbeumo, big, powerful, running forward. Cunha, bloody strong on the ball. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, gets fouled, but he's still winning the ball on the ground. And yeah, you then look at players like Ugarte, right? Casemiro. They're men. They're powerful. Now that's me using Man U, by the way. I've not even gone to City and Arsenal. I now look at Spurs and go, you've got Tell, who's so weak, can't hold the ball up, looks like he's going to fall over every time. Odegaard, dispossessed like a candy from a baby every time he has it. Now you want to add Gray into this. Bergvaul's another one, constantly falling over, right? Now you add in Richarlison, who can't stay on his feet for love nor money. Brennan Johnson, who's got no power at all. So now we want to chuck Gray into the mix as well. So we've just got lots of weak, like there's no power in there. There's no...
well built. I've got to tell you something. He is well built.
He is well built, but he's inexperienced.
You can be well built, but every time he comes on, today, the first thing he does, runs in someone, pushes them over. Like, I'm talking about being strong on the ball, not just being a physical lad, because Richarlison is built, right? But weak on the ball. I'm talking about power. I'm talking about, can we get some grown-ups in this football team? Like, you know when Sean and I were having that debate on WhatsApp during the game, Lubo, right? About Odegaard. People go, oh, Odegaard did this. You watch him in that first 30 minutes. Nearly every time he gets the ball on the left wing, he's dispossessed because he's not strong enough. He can't hold the ball up. He's not strong enough. And we want to add more kids. People go, oh, bring back Mikey Moore, bring back when quality. Where's the quality?
I've got a really good example of how we've just not been signing the right players. Although, and I hate the fact that we always have to reiterate this, we're not writing off Gray and Bergvall. We'll see in a few years' time because they are very young. But just think back to what Dele Alli was like when we first bought Dele Alli. Pochettino stuck him in a more defensive midfield position. He established himself. He looked the business. And then once he started really progressing, he pushed him further forward, just off Kane. You saw his quality straight away, right? He was strong on the ball. He was a feisty, albeit dirty player. Gray and Bergvall, they're just inexperienced kids.
That's the problem.
As Savva said, Bergvall came on and just runs into someone. That's not being feisty or hard. That's just stupidity, right? And so we just don't have the players. And I feel sorry for Frank because who else does he have? Who else does he have?
Well, what are we going to do between now and Jan? That's your question.
That is true, Lubo. But can I just say, just before we get to that, the thing that made me laugh today is funny. At the end of the game, Lube, I'm sitting there and in my chat, I've got people going, oh my God, the subs he made were all wrong. And I'm looking and going, who are you bringing on? If you look from today's team, right? If we go through this, Lubo, right? If we actually have a look at today, right? The players that didn't come on for Tottenham Hotspur, the players that didn't come on were Byfield, Gray, and Kinski.
Okay.
Right, one more. I must be missing one.
No, I think
Byfield, Gray.
There were 5, weren't there, in the end?
Oh, no, because we only had 8 subs, didn't we? Because Danso went into the team. So the only 3 players that didn't come on today were the goalkeeper, and you wouldn't expect a goalkeeper to be subbed on, right? Byfield, who's a 16-year-old defender, and Archie Gray. But I've got people going, oh, the subs he made, he didn't make the right sub.
I could say, Sav,
who's he meant to bring on?
Change that to timing of the subs. Change that to timing. I think I possibly would have brought on Bergvall earlier.
But for what? But for what? Because what I don't understand, I keep seeing this. Bergvall comes on, doesn't do anything, and people go, oh, I should have bought on Bergvall earlier. What does he do?
Well, do you need... Listen, agreed the game was finally balanced up to Villa's winning goal. And a lot of managers, when a game's finally balanced, they're not, they're not disposed, they're not looking to change things because it might, it might tip the game against them when it's very tight. But we don't need. Polina wins the ball and had a fantastic game. Gives it to a player who's going to do something with it. That's his job. Win it, give it. We don't need Bentancur as well, just playing 5-10 yard square balls. We don't need 2 of them, certainly not at home. And you're 1-1, you need the 3 points, you're going for the win. I'm sorry, it's just too negative to keep playing Polina and...
Okay, so the answer is Gray.
Away from home, Sav, I think it works well. He sets us up differently and you can see the answer is Gray. The results. The answer is Gray. No, I probably would have brought Bergvall on earlier.
Okay, but as I did a show earlier this week, Lubo, where somebody who's in this chat right now was telling me, by the way, it's Eugene who has stinkers all day long, right? Was telling me, but Bergvall progresses the ball and has better forward passing than Bentancur, right? So I went and did some research, and Bergvall actually doesn't pass the ball forwards as many times as Bentancur. What Bergvall does is he drives with the ball, which gives the perception that he's playing forward. He then loses it. The ball bounces back into midfield, and now you've only got Paulinho in the midfield on his own against 3. And this is the difficulty you see when we played Leeds, right? Leeds played Stack, Longstaff, and Ampadu as a powerful midfield 3, right? Mm-hmm. Today, Onana, McGinn, and Kamara. And we're saying, right, Paulinho, let's stick Bergvall next to you, who just wants to go wandering. Paulinho's now got 3 of them to mop up. 3 of them.
That's why I agreed with the Paulinho Bentancur. Although I'm not happy with him picking the 2 of them for home games, for this particular one, and I said this on Thursday's show, so that was the team that I would have gone with. We're in the ascendancy second half before they scored. At that point, we're pushing Villa back. At that point, bring on Bergvall. Don't leave it a bit longer. I thought I would have.
For what? Can I ask for what though? He doesn't score and he doesn't assist. So what's this big bring on Bergvall for?
I think he gives us something. You know, he drives at players.
But with no end
defenders don't like players don't like players driving at them. Very easy. They sit tight. They force them back. They force them wide. That's their job done. They don't like it when someone's prepared to run at players.
But can I ask you, Lubo? This is the key thing for me. I see this all the time, and I'm going to group a lot of these players in together. I look at Odegaard, the excuses that are made for this boy who's got not 1 assist in a Tottenham shirt in 31 games, right? But I'm told, God, he's good. He's getting better. Doesn't assist, doesn't score goals, right? Bergvall, right? I'm told, bring him on. He's creative. He drives at people. How many assists and goals has Bergvall got in his year and a half at Tottenham Hotspur, right? Same with Tell. Tell's got this first touch. He can do this. Does he? The ball just keeps bouncing back. Can we not say it for what it is? Can we not say that we have left ourselves extremely short yet again?
No, we are.
And that everyone is overrating these players that haven't ever done anything because we've got nothing else.
I think today Frank's in a situation he can't worry about all of that. He's in a match situation, and he can only deal with what he's got on the bench. So for me, we've got 4 out of 12 points at home. So something's going wrong at home, isn't it, this season?
Lubo, I'm not doubting it. I'm not
doubting it. It's not working. So sometimes you've got to take a risk. You've got to change it up. Even if you don't think particularly that Bergvall's got it, Frank obviously rates him. Otherwise, he
can't rate him that much because he's not starting him in games.
No, but he didn't put him out on loan like he did with 12 players at the beginning.
But you can't put everyone out on loan. We've got no depth. Listen, this is the problem. I keep hearing, right? Scott, I agree on this one. He's got some. I keep hearing this word. He's got something. But these players don't deliver anything. And then, but they've got something. At what point? And by the way, I'm not blaming. Like I told you, Eugene has stinkers, right? I've not once blamed Bergvall for today. I was told we're talking about the substitution that was made. Savva, grow up, mate. We lost to a good Villa team. That's exactly what I said. What? Yes, we did lose. By the way, yes, Villa are a good team. I've been trying to tell people that, and I've been told that they're shit. Look, Maz, the problem I have with this, right, is, again, when people like me said after the transfer window that I don't, everyone's going, this is the best window we've had for years. And I looked at it and I went, is it really? We signed Kolo Muani as a panic on the last day of the window. You bought Xavi Simons after the season had started, so he had no time to integrate into the team, no chance to go on pre-season with his players, yada, yada, yada. Paulinho and Kudus, brilliant. Yeah? 2 top signings. But we did not address our striker position, Maz. We did not address our left winger position.
Yeah.
We did not address the need for a ball playing number 8. And you got people going, Frank was backed. If that's backed, I hope these people never expect to win anything. If that is being backed in the market, Maz.
When you just look at the names, you won't find any disagreement from me, Savva. I agree with everything you said. But when you look at just the names on paper and what we've been saying for quite a few years now, yes, we did sign very good players. However, it's the manner in which, as you said, we signed the players. So we signed Kudus early and then Paulinho, And then we had like 7 weeks, was it? Is it 7, 8 weeks where we were just waiting and waiting and waiting
Exactly.
and waiting. And I remember, you doing the shows, and I came on a few times, and you said, this is what we do. We do this all the time. We know what we need. We should be out there getting those players. I mean, you would think that our scouting department and the management never plan anything. Like, didn't they know these problems like from like 2 years ago or 3 years ago? My biggest frustration, and I've been saying the same thing ever since Pochettino has left, the way in which we've conducted our transfer business has been nothing short of a disgrace. We've allowed Son to grow old and leave. We've allowed Kane to leave with no replacements. And we know what their replacements were. Richarlison, Solanke, who are rubbish, right? I'm sorry, they're rubbish. They're average footballers. They shouldn't be part of a top 6 team like us, right? We've had much better players in the history of Spurs, right? And we've dropped down so many levels by bringing those 2 strikers in compared to what we had before. So, and the same thing happens year after year. We sign the players really late into the window, right? And then we wonder why things aren't happening at the start, or we start seeing problems. I think it was a good window, but like you, it didn't address the major problems that we had, especially when Madison got injured. That was when a rocket should have been fired up their arse, and they should have said, right, what's it, Savinho, whatever his name is, Savio. You wanted 70 million, fine, we'll give you 75, 80 million. Let's just forget about all this nonsense now. Here's 8 million. Are you going to let him go? Yes or no? Why didn't we do that? Lookman arguing over 3 million quid. Sean's my chairman arguing over 3 million quid. Why didn't we just bring him in? How much is that? How much would it have cost us? Let's say we go to January, we're hovering around 7th or 8th. But had we bought Lockman in, we could be 4th or 3rd. That's the difference. That 3 million quid is nothing in the grand scheme of things. You're right. That midfield, ever since Poch, Dembele's gone. Dele Alli's disappeared. Eriksen's gone. Mora, I know Mora's not, the best player ever, but when you compare Mora to what we've got now, Odegaard and Tell, bloody hell, bring Mora back, please. I'd rather have him back. Bring Lamella back as well while you're at it. I'd rather have him back because we just haven't replaced these integral parts of the team with absolute quality players that we can look at now and say, right, here you go, Frank. You can do something with these players. It's not Frank's fault.
If you point that out, you're ridiculed. I said, right, my thing at the beginning of the season was, one, I thought it was a good window, but no more, no less. I don't think we addressed the issues. What we actually did was, instead of adding to the squad, we replaced Maddison. We didn't add to the squad. We replaced Maddison with Simmons, right? Yeah. We replaced Son, if you will, with Kudus. Yeah. We didn't actually add quality to the squad. We replaced a couple of footballers. Yeah. So I said, and tell me if I'm wrong, all right? Tell me if I'm wrong. I've said that I think this is going to be a very up and down season because I don't think the squad is as good as people make out. I don't think we've got the players to control games. I don't think we're going to be a team that wins games 3-0, 4-0 because we don't have the goal scorers within the football club. And that is why Frank is going to make us harder to beat. Now, I also want to point out as well that I know people don't like truth, right? I know people don't like truth, Maz. But when you've got Spurs fans that clearly live in the Spurs bubble and don't look outside. So when I said a good Villa team beat us today, so they're not good. Aston Villa are 8 games unbeaten, 5 wins on the spin, and the only football team in the country above them on form is Arsenal, right? And you've got fans going, They're not on form. No, they are. They're a good team. You know what happened, Maz? They had a bad start to the season, and everyone went, there you go, they're shit, gutted. Told you. They've got a good manager. They're strong. Look at the players they're bringing off the bench compared to us.
Yeah, levels.
Look at the players they're bringing off the bench compared to Tottenham.
Yeah, they bring on Ollie Watkins and we bring on Richarlison.
Right. But do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
I think that the key thing for me today is this. I was sitting with my uncle watching the Man U Liverpool game, right? And he's a massive Spurs fan as well. And he said, he's very level-headed. He said, I'll sum it up like this. And I think he was spot on. You tell me if he's wrong, Baz. He said, we're good at the back. He said, we're organised at the back. We're hard to break through in the midfield. He went, but our weakest players are in the forward area. And that is where, funnily enough, we look weakest as a football team. Yeah. He said, this isn't rocket science. He said, if you haven't got the players, you are going to struggle. And he, like me said today, he said, the problem is you've got a lot of players that look like they do a lot, but don't actually do a lot. Yeah, so today, people are going, Odegaard had a really good game. Odegaard gives nice 5-yard passes to other people. You ask him to take a man on. You ask him to take a shot at goal. You ask him to score or assist. Nothing. Tell runs about a lot, Maz. Doesn't he? He runs about a lot. Gets into good, but he runs. People go, he's done well today. Can't hold a ball up to save his life. Never looks like he's going to score a goal. Can't pass a football. He's not strong. And
awful positioning sense when he's in the key area of the box. I mean, that cross that Kudus whipped in near the end of the game, and it was prime for Tell to get on the end of it, and he goes underneath his bloody feet. He like star jumped and he went straight through his legs. And you think, what on earth? The boy's 40 million pounds. I don't care how young he is. We paid 40 million pounds. If the age is an excuse, then don't pay 40 million pounds for him. It's as simple as that.
I agree. Yeah.
Right. Therefore, because we did pay 40 million pounds. Yeah. But because we did pay 40 million pounds, it's our right to expect that he can play football and contribute to the team. Well, a meaningful contribution, not what a lot of the fans talk about contribution wise, but he doesn't contribute to the team. You've got the stats. His GA is awful. There's no end product. He doesn't cause the team problems. He has an odd moment in a game where maybe something comes off for him, but that's a flashing moment that can happen with any player. He doesn't make things happen. So he's an awful player. He's an awful player. Now,
can I ask you a question?
The caveat is, sorry, Savva, the caveat is, in 3 years' time, if he continues to play for Spurs and he gets the opportunity, is he going to turn into something good? Who knows? None of us are what is it, clairvoyance or whatever it is? We can't see into the future. No one knows what the future holds for him. But I'm bloody damn well sure. I don't think he's going to be a great player because he's not showing me anything. Dele Alli, when he was young, showed us something. Mikey Moore, for those couple of games that we saw something. Even that young 16-year-old lad that came on, you can just tell when a player has something different about them. So you're willing to give them time and patience. But those players don't cost 40 million pounds. They cost a few million here and there. So I agree with you, mate. It's.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm not sure what else to say.
I'm going to take Kudus out of it. I thought Kudus had a quieter game today and yet was still the best of our front three. That tells you everything you need to know. I'm going to take Kudus out of it. If you looked, let's pick another team. Again, I don't want to go to the big clubs. If you looked down the road at Newcastle, right? If you looked at Everton, Fulham, and you saw that their forwards were Odegaard, Hell, Brennan Johnson, Richarlison, would you be looking at any of them, Maz, and going, Spurs should go and get that guy from Fulham, that Tell guy from Fulham, that Odegaard guy from Southampton? But this is what we did. This is what we've done. And we've done it every time we're buying forwards, we're downgrading and we're downgrading. Kudus is the anomaly here, right? Kudus is the anomaly,
Absolutely.
right? He's the one quality player. And by the way, the number of Spurs fans that didn't want him, right?
Yeah.
Kudus is the anomaly. And yet every week I'm hearing, you don't back the younger players. It's like, nah, hang on, with Tottenham Hotspur. If you are in the first 11 for Tottenham Hotspur, this shouldn't be me as a fan going, oh, I'll just give all the players 2 years to see how good they are in 2027.
How long did they back Mane for when he came on and scored 2 screamers in his first game?
Yeah.
How long did we say give him 3-4 years, keep him in the team at Spurs?
Tommy Carroll, Bentley, Mason, Livermore.
Yeah, how long did we back them guys for? It's such a nonsense. For me, it's nonsense. I don't want to be disrespectful to people. It's a nonsense argument, right? It's people are lying to themselves. They're hoping. You know, I think as well what really takes this conversation into the gutter when they start saying, yeah, but we're Tottenham, we need to back our own. We need to back because they wear the shirt. We have to unanimously back them. No, sorry, this is not you don't just wear the shirt and get backing straight away. You've got to show us something. You've got to give us a reason to cheer. You've got to have an attribute where the fans think, you know what, you might be rough and ready around the edges on a few areas, but this thing about you is excellent. Therefore, we can see a future for you. Then you add the price tag on top, but then what do you have? You have disaster written all over it. You know, how quickly did we get rid of Sergei Rebrov when we bought? I remember going way back now. How quickly did we get rid of him? The guy was top goal scorer in the Champions League. He comes to Spurs, has a couple of seasons, we get rid of him. Did we want to keep him there for 4, 5, 6 years and give him a chance? No, we got rid of him. But we can go back and look at how we treated previous players that came into this club, right? And use that same argument they're giving Tell at the moment. Oh, I see something in them. Oh, you know.
But do you know what's happening, Matt? Do you know what's happening here, right? And I'm always told, it's funny because I used to work in youth football, right? I literally worked at Premier League clubs in youth football. And I'm told, you don't like youth players. No. I like youth players for what they are. Youth players. This is Tottenham's first team. You're not asking me for patience for them coming through at the under-21 level. You're saying to me, they'll all come good. They're in the first team. You are in the first team. You don't get to go in the first team and get 20 games without a reply. You don't get
without showing a performance, right?
Right.
Okay, let's break it down. To get into the first team, you have to be good in training. You have to show qualities over and above your colleagues, right? Then when you're in that starting 11, then you have to show the manager that you deserve to be in that position. He doesn't deserve to be there, Tell. So
but
if Tell
does either,
no, none of them do. Like, so what I'm trying to get at is, if Tell was bought by Spurs to develop over the 3-4 years and he was a bit part player, right? Fine, but don't spend 40 effing million for him. You pay 10 million like you did for Bergvall. You don't spend the big bucks, because you can't tell me that what separates Tell and Xavi is 15 million quid or 10 million quid.
Well, look, Maz, let me put it this way. Benji, big up to you. I'll bring you in a second, right? You know what? I did some workings out earlier, right? And for me, what I've said is I think our standards are in the gutter, right? And by the way, I don't think my standards are better than anyone else's, but we're Tottenham Hotspur. We should have some standards of the level of footballer that is playing in our first 11, right? Now, if you are going to have a Tell or a Odegaard or a Bergvall in the team, fine, have one. We've just got a team littered full of them. And we're hoping that they all come good at some point. Now, listen to this, right? And this might shock people in the chat, right? Wilson Odegaard this season has played in 10 games in all competitions, right? Do you know how many goals he's got?
0.
Do you know how many assists?
Got 1. Didn't he score 1 in a cup? No. Okay, there you go.
Do you know how many assists he's got officially? None.
None.
But he'll get the one for the own goal against Doncaster, right?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Overall, he's played 31 times for Tottenham Hotspur, right? And he has 2 goals and no assists, right? Now, as a fan, I sit there and go, we've got to be doing better than that. And I get told, oh, can't you see what he does? What?
Yeah, nothing.
Like, as a winger, where is your threat? As a wide man, where is your threat? Like today, he cut inside and he had a weak shot at the goalkeeper. People went, oh, that was good. Was it? What was it? Why was that good? Like, he hooked the ball in that Van der Ven was behind and had to get a header on. Oh, good cross from... Our bar, Maz, is so low now that when these players complete a pass or a cross, we go, there you go. He's got something. This magical word.
Does Lubo text you and say, oh, look, there's a good pass there?
But the thing is, this isn't just Odegaard. This is Tell. And I'll tell you what, let me go one further, guys. Right? Because I didn't stop there. This is Matisse Tell for Tottenham Hotspur. Right? Matisse Tell has played 28 games. He's scored 3 goals and he's got 1 assist. Right? Now, one of those goals was on his debut against Villa, so was the very first of those 28 games.
Oh, you mean that penalty that he forced Johnson to not take? Or his hat-trick?
No. He scored against Villa. Do you remember in the FA Cup game, in his very first game, he scored in like the 93rd minute.
That karate kick. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah. Lost like 2-1. He scored the penalty, and then he got his goal against Leeds, right?
Oh, Leeds was the one when it hit him and he didn't realise that he scored.
No.
That was it.
No. That was Wolves. That was Wolves, right?
That was Wolves. There you go.
So, Matisse Tell, sorry, one more. He's got 4 goals. I take it back. He's got 4 goals, right? Matisse Tell and Odegaard between them have played 59 games for Tottenham Hotspur, right? 59, and they have 7 GA.
It's awful. It's so bad.
I'm not saying you can only go by GA, but my eyes are watching them and going, what do you do? The stats are telling me, what do you do? And then we're getting to the end of every game and people are going, he had a good game today. And I'm like, well, hang on. You've got a forward who doesn't score or assist. You've got a left winger who doesn't score or assist. But I'm constantly told they're having good games. Something's not adding up here, guys. Sorry, Benji, I'll bring you in.
Benji can come in, but I'm going to say what I said last time, right? People are lying to themselves.
Yes. Like, there's no... Okay, Benji, talk to me. Tell an Odegaard, should they be anywhere near Spurs' first team?
Well, I mean, for me, by the way, thanks for having me on. It's been a while.
Always welcome. Always welcome.
Do you know what? For me, I knew that they were going to play today because realistically, Tell got that goal in the last game. They both went away on under-21s international. It did quite well between the two. I know it's under-21s, but I had a funny feeling they was both going to start today. Look, for me, Tell shouldn't be anywhere near that first team. I think that's as cut and dry as it should be. However, Odegaard, I'm going to be honest, he's also another one that I've sat there and thought, what do you offer? And I know in the past, Sav, you've turned around and said, just pick your man, stick with him, see how it goes for the season on the left. Because realistically, our options there are shocking. But today, I was actually pleasantly surprised by Odegaard. Was he a 10 out of 10? Absolutely not. But did I see more from him today? To an acceptable level? Not really, but it is nice to see something down that left. I thought it was a bit of a danger man again.
What? But hang on. When you said you saw something and a bit of a danger man, what? Like, what did he do today? I keep having this debate with Sean where he's telling me, oh, did you see that? And the thing is, when you have to point out little moments they do, that tells me everything I need to know.
Of course, 100%. But I think I just feel like he's on the ball. He was far more dangerous than I've seen him for quite some time, and that can cause a real problem. You know, Aaron Lennon made a career off doing it. I'm not saying he's to Aaron's level. Don't get me wrong, But what I am saying is today I did see a general improvement from Alderweireld.
How many people did he skin and beat convincingly? Aaron Lennon's biggest problem, right, was once he beat the player a couple of times, or run down the line, was his end ball. But even by if you compare Lennon to what we've got now, he's levels above him, like massive levels above him.
I had a conversation today. Lennon's final ball was absolutely shocking, but he was so good at beating his man, he'd get more than 2, 3, 4 chances to throw a ball in. And eventually one of them would get lucky.
Exactly.
Right? But no, look, with Alderweireld, from what I've seen today, and again, this is going off that we've got an awful, awful set of options for that left side. I just think if he can maybe, steadily improve, it might work out for us. Again, I don't know, but all I'm simply stating is that today I saw more from him than I've seen from him in a Spurs shirt. And I was relatively impressed by it. Again, I know he did nothing with a final ball. I understand that, but at least he did something. I'm so used to seeing that left side dead that it was nice to see a bit of a switch up at times, is all I'm saying. Again, I'm not saying it's to the level we need, boys, before you bite me head off. I know, but I'm just saying
I just feel like I'm not seeing it. I feel like I'm just not seeing it. I saw a guy that, especially in that first 20 minutes, every time he got the ball, it just felt like Matty Cash just went, "See you later, mate," nudged him and took the ball off him. Like, they're so weak. They're so weak. And by the way, someone in the chat has just said to me, well, Kudus hasn't got good stats. Kudus has got the most assists in the Premier League this season. Like, I mean, if we're really gonna use Mohamed Kudus as the benchmark, Kudus has got the most assists in the Premier League this season, along with Jack Grealish.
But the thing is with Kudus, let's take out goals and assists from it. At least he beats his man. At least he causes them big problems. At least he fights and tackles and hustles, and he's busy, right? Everything goes through him. So even if he didn't have any GA, you could at least see what he does on the pitch. Tell and Odegaard, for me, Ben, they don't do anything. Like, we had a lot of possession today, so you should see Odegaard be on the ball because we've had a lot of possession today. But what came of it? Did he convincingly beat his man and put in a ball where another player just missed? I don't remember anything that he done that caused major problems, apart from one shot he had where he shuffled it to his right and took I think it was a weak shot, but at least he got a shot away. And if it goes to the point that Savva was saying, our standards have dropped so low now that we see a few sprints up and down the byline as a mark of progression and greatness. I mean, there's so many players that we've had in the past that are just so much better than what these guys are, and we slated them. Do you know what, Savva? Do you remember a couple of weeks ago, I think someone said, you would prefer, was it Andy Sinton, they said to you? And you said, yep, bring back Sinton now, prime Sinton back in. I'm like, at least he could cross or take a corner.
I genuinely cannot believe how low we've gone down for footballers. Like, when I look at this group of forwards as a whole, first of all, whoever has put this together over the last 3-4 years should be shot. Right? And you know what I mean? I don't mean literally. I mean like sacked. And if this is Paratici, he's got a lot to answer for. Right? I'm looking at Odegaard. I'm looking at Tell, Richarlison, Solanke, Brennan Johnson. I'm looking at these players and going, how has that been assembled? And then I'm looking and going, okay, well, you already had Richarlison, right? You already have Brennan Johnson. So now make the next ones really good. Nope. Make the next ones Tell and Odegaard. And I genuinely don't understand. And the thing is, as fans, I get it, right? This is where I'll get in trouble with people, right? Right? As fans, I get the whole just get behind them. They're young. Guys, this isn't a youth club. We are a Premier League football team that charges 100 odd quid to go and watch our team play, right? We are a Premier League football team in the Champions League. This isn't a youth club, right? If you want to bed one of them in, bed one of them in. But we've gone and bought loads of them. We've got Gray, Sarr and Bergvall, 3 young centre mids. You've got Tell, Odeber. Guys, I'm baffled as to how people are not watching this and going, God, these boys should be out on loan. First of all, they shouldn't have been bought. But if you did buy them, these boys should be out on loan, playing week in, week out at a lower level, because this is not Tottenham standard at all.
I've got a question for you, chap. Given the decisions the club have made recently, because I'm going to be very, very honest with you, I've been quite pleased with the way Tottenham have moved recently. Certain appointments, ditching Daniel Levy, offering up money, so on and so forth. My question is to you, do you feel the way Spurs are beginning to act that these problems are going to be addressed come January?
Why weren't they addressed in the summer?
Yeah, I understand that.
Right.
I would have said it was the old regime, maybe. I don't know.
Benji, this is my point, right? And I've said all along, when people were celebrating like mad that Levy stepped down or was pushed or whatever you want to say, I sat there and I said, hang on, this is the same owners. Let's see what they do in the coming windows. But what I do know is this: when you actually break down that summer window before people are going mad about it, right? You got 2 first-team signings, 2 loans. One of the loans was a panic, right? One of the loans was a panic. On the last day of the window. One of the other loans was absolutely brilliant in Paulinho, an absolute no-brainer. Kudus was brilliant. And then Xavi Simons is the unknown, right? Really good player. But with players like that, they normally take a bit of time to settle. Other than that, right, we didn't do anything we needed. We did not buy a striker. We did not buy a left winger. We did not buy a ball-playing midfielder. We didn't do anything. We spent relatively... Lubo's the stat man for this. I think we spent 120 million? 105 million?
4 million, I think it was.
Right.
Which
so we
is a
spent
bit less than usual.
Right. So we spent a bit less than the last few summers, right? Sun went. Maddison went injured for the year. We knew Kulu was out for 6-7 months. So you're thinking, right, kick on. This is your time, Benji. Kick on. Right? Now I'm thinking, kick on more. You got Paulinho in as a loan. Brilliant. You've kicked that can down the road. The money you saved from buying a DM, go and buy a top left winger. And now Sonny's gone and you got 20 million from him leaving as well. Nope. Didn't go and buy a top left winger. So what makes me think they're going to go and do that in the next few windows if they couldn't address that in 3 months?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Look, I'm going to say a couple of things on that. Number one, and this is the one that's a bit far-fetched. The reasoning for that could have been, I'm not saying it is, could have been Daniel Levy, possibly. We're going to find out more come January. And I do think we went in for a couple of wingers. I think we went in for Semenyo. I think we went in for Savinho. And I think they were our 2 main targets. But I don't feel like we were able to get them across the line. For one reason or another, I don't know. And there was clearly no backup in place for those 2 options. However, I do think moving forward, because we've got people, a person like Paratici, who I am a massive, massive fan of. I love the way he does business. He misdirects other clubs. He has multiple people on the go at the same time, and it's something we've all been talking about.
Look at the crap he signed in our forward area.
It's true, but that happens everywhere, and everyone makes mistakes. The great Alex Ferguson did. Hang on.
You've just said you love him. Look at Paratici's in now. Okay, so let me look at the forwards Paratici's brought into this football club. Name me one good one. That's open to the panel. Name me a good forward player that Paratici has brought into Tottenham Hotspur.
Wait a minute. At the time, we didn't need forward players because we had prime Son and prime Kane.
Still his problem.
No.
But that's still his problem, though. Anyway, that's still
for sure. But at the end of the day, what he has brought in and the way he's gone about doing his business, I feel it's been good. And like I say, I don't want to talk about what he's done in the past. I'm looking forward to.
You can't give me names.
Yeah, because at the time we didn't really need any forwards.
Of course you need forwards. You can't just say we've got Kane and Son, you don't need any forwards.
Yeah, but it's hard to bring in players. It's hard to bring in players that you're going to say, well, you can come to a club, we really want you, but
it's hard to
get ahead of Harry Kane and Heung-min Son.
No, it's Ben. Ben, it's harder to bring in players
why can
now.
Man City do it? Why have Arsenal just done it? Why can Liverpool do it? Why can City do it?
Wages, maybe? I don't know.
What, like we're broke?
No, I know we're not. I know we're not, because realistically, we won't pay those wages. And those players might think, okay, do you know what? I'll sit on the bench for a season or two. I'm being paid umpteen amounts.
So,
maybe.
So you're telling me then, let's break this down. Let's go deep into this. And I'm gonna rely on Lubo's mathematical brain in a minute, because I know he's got all these numbers in his head. Before I get to that, you're telling me we couldn't have bought the level of forwards that Newcastle bought? You're telling me we couldn't have bought the level of forwards, right, that Aston Villa have bought, like Morgan Rogers, right, like Ollie Watkins. You're telling me we like Marcus Rashford on loan. You're telling me
these players weren't great before they came in at all. They were young players when they were brought into the club. They weren't what they were now. Okay,
but everyone wanted Anthony Gordon at the time, right? So we couldn't have rivaled Newcastle for Anthony Gordon, right?
We chose not to.
I thought we did have a no. Was there not a conversation there for Anthony Gordon?
There was we were linked to him.
Yeah.
My point is this, Lubo, do me a favour, just roughly. It doesn't have to be. I know you're going to give me to the penny, right? Add these up for me, Lubo, as we go, right?
Go on.
This is Tottenham in the last 3 years of signing forwards, right? Before we're going to wax lyrical about players. Brennan Johnson, 47?
Half.
Right. Okay. Richarlison.
48.
Okay. So where are we at there? Just under
95 and a half.
Okay. Dominic Solanke.
57, 152 and a half.
152 and a half. Odegaard.
25, 177 and a half.
Okay. Tell.
39, 216 and a half.
Valise.
12, 228 and a half.
Yang.
I think that was about 4, 232, 232,
Right.
233.
Right. So, Ben, when we're talking about what we've bought, look at that list of players I've mentioned. We've spent £232 million. And what have we got back from any of it? And how many of them were Paratici? There you go. That's what I'll ask. How many of them were Paratici?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I certainly don't think Richarlison was. I feel like Richarlison was a Levy deal because he's very good mates with the owner. Hang on. He's a very good mates with the owner of Everton. I want to throw that out there.
So you're telling me, right? You're telling me Daniel Levy has rocked up to one of these recruitment meetings and gone, guys,
I really want Richie.
I want Richarlison.
Maybe he did.
55 million or 48 million.
I want the real R9 here, the pigeon.
Come on, Benji. No.
I know what you're saying. It's money poorly spent. Again, a lot of it is down to analytics. I think players like Johnson, players like Odegaard in their careers, they've stepped up each year that they've been playing. I know in the Premier League that they're not Premier League standard, but if you look at their careers, they have improved year on year.
Ben, you just said, I know that they're not Premier League standard.
No, but what I'm saying is they were brought off analytics because they were viewed as improving year on year. And if you look back at their careers,
so you don't spend £70 million.
No, you don't.
Two players for them to come good in 3-4 years' time.
Absolutely.
Unless you're such a good team that you can afford to do that, i.e., Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, etc., etc.
But they're live the mistake.
Can I tell you what's worse, though? Can I tell you what's worse? It's the number of fans that still back these players. Right? There is excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse, right? We could be given, right? Somebody, Maz, could send me and you around the world for a year and go, right, you've got 232 million, go and buy Spurs a forward line from across Europe, right? Without being ridiculous, without going for Haalands and go and find people across Europe. The best we've come back with is Tell, Odegaard, Brennan Johnson, Solanke, Richarlison. Like, this is, guys, this is poor. This is really, really, really poor. And you know what? Lubo, you said something to me. I don't know if you remember this. Probably, actually, it might not have been you because it was actually a really good point. So it probably wasn't you, but it was you. Said, what's happening this year is this is now years of bad recruitment catching up with us.
Correct.
This is years of... Now, we were hanging on with Kane, and then he went. And then we were hanging on with Son, and he went, right? This is years of bad recruitment that we're now looking and going, these are the forwards. We're bringing on Mawani, Johnson, and Richarlison. They are the 3 players we are bringing off the bench, and people are going, oh, he got his subs wrong. What's he meant to do?
He's got a problem, and I think people have got to temper their expectations this season.
But it's not his fault.
No, it's not.
Although I know that Tell potentially was signed when he wasn't even there, but apparently we don't know the truth of this. He gave the all clear for it just before he joined for us to go and get him. But Tell, like that £40 million, if you just added that to our transfer kitty and you gave the extra 3-4 million for Lookman and the extra 10-15 for Savio, what a difference that would make.
Well, Savio was never coming, Maz.
We can only go by what we see we're linked by, right? Yeah, but the thing is, that's not an excuse. Like to say, none of us know.
Lookman he could have had, he didn't want, obviously. Lookman was there. He could have been bought.
Well, hang on. They offered for him on the last day of the window, so clearly he wanted him enough.
And on a loan only, Atalanta wanted the money up front. If he'd have wanted him that badly, he'd have said, yeah, pay the money.
Well, why not go and get Akalush then? Get 50 million. Just give him 50. Bring him here. Is it Akalush? It is him.
Yeah. Why did we offer for Malik Fofana on the last day of the window?
What's the point of offering on the last day? Clubs can't replace.
Exactly. Bingo.
That's the point. That's the point. Malik Fofana in this team right now, right? You would see level. Now, bearing in mind, Malik Fofana's still young, but he's got enough experience. If he played on our left wing right now, all of these people praising people like Tell and Odeberg would go, oh, actually, yeah, you were right. This is levels above. So why didn't we do that? And now people are going, oh, Frank didn't want any of these. What you're telling me Frank was offered people like Lookman and Fofana and said, no, actually, I'm all right. I've got Odeberg and Tell. Frank is not a silly man. There's no way on earth. There's no way on earth.
Can I just ask a question? Because I hear this a lot. Who are these people that are praising these types of players?
Oh, my God. There's so many.
I swear, I see a few comments, fair enough. But on Twitter, it's usually people losing their minds about Tells, your Odebergs.
Oh, yeah, but X is the worst platform in the entire world. I'm talking about YouTube. Right. Really? And by the way, people, we will talk about Xavi Simons. He's not getting away scot-free. We will talk about him in a minute.
Yes, please. I'll have some of that.
No, we will talk about him in a minute. We will. But I think Maz is right. Maz is absolutely right. Tottenham, and so I'm paraphrasing again here, Maz. So sorry, man. Right. Tottenham Hotspur, I've said this all summer, Lubo, me and you have had this chat a lot. We either knew that Son was going all summer, right? We even knew he was leaving all summer and had all summer to get in a replacement. Or from the moment Son agreed to leave, there was another month of the transfer window to go and buy a left winger from across the world of football. And Tottenham Hotspur decided not to do anything until the last day of the window when we ask about Lookman and Fofana. Like, and then you've got people like this guy next to me who's just joined, Eugene, going, oh, this was Frank. He decided he didn't want a left winger. Really? You really think Thomas Frank said to Spurs, I don't want a left winger after losing Son? Are you kidding me?
That's a hypothetical. Right? The point is, we didn't get one. So
that is the point, that we didn't get one, but you blame Frank for it.
Yeah, because he's the right. He said.
How are you gonna blame Frank for it?
He only wanted the players who he wants, right? He said he has some targets. If we don't get a player, it means he didn't want him. That's what he said. He said he wants his number one option.
But that doesn't mean he doesn't want anybody, Eugene. That means the club failed to get them for him.
Well, but you're assuming just like I'm assuming. That's my opinion.
Do you know how you know I'm not assuming? If Thomas Frank was happy with his left-sided players, why has about 5 different players played out on the left wing for Spurs in the first 12 games we played? If he was happy with his left wingers, why doesn't he know who his best left winger is?
So, but hold on. Are you saying that we had 70 million to spend on Savio? Savio was the only left winger in the world that we were looking at. So once it didn't happen, it didn't work out, we had no other targets.
Yeah, that is the Tottenham way.
That doesn't make sense to me.
No, but that is what Tottenham do.
Okay, so then why did we offer for Lookman and for Fana on the last day of the window if Frank didn't want a left winger? Why?
Just like we offered for Guehi last day of the window. Last day of the window, chances are you're not going to get anybody since the other team has no time to replace that player.
No, I understood, but then clearly, by your logic, let's reverse engineer your logic.
Was a panic. It was a panic move, probably.
Hang on. Hang on. First and foremost, Fofana and Lookman aren't panics. Like, let's be brutally honest.
Panic last day of the window, I'm saying. Right? If we wanted Fofana or Lookman, why wait until the very last day of the window when we won't be able to get anybody? Since that team won't be able to
let me reverse engineer your statement. You're saying Frank has said he doesn't want anyone unless they're his targets. So then if that's the case, why would Frank then suddenly change his mind and panic on the last day of the transfer window and go, oh, please go and put in a bid for this player? That doesn't make sense. Either he wanted them or he didn't, right?
But so if you did want him, we had 3 weeks where we could have gotten him. Like we got Simmons, right? Simmons wasn't our first choice, right? It wasn't him. We still got him. So I'm assuming our recruiting team can walk and chew gum at the same time. I'm not saying we should have 1,000 targets. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming, but
they showed all summer they can't work on 2 transfers at the whole time. We literally had like a month in between every signing, didn't we?
I agree. All I'm saying is,
but I'm asking, how are you? No. Sorry, I'm really sorry. How are we blaming Thomas Frank on this? I don't get it. You don't think he wanted a winger?
Again, a manager should be just like the recruiting team. A manager is responsible for the players that are coming in. We need to be consistent. So again, we knew that Savio. Hold on.
Reverse engineer this for me.
Hold on.
I'm going to call you out as to not knowing how transfers work. How is this on Thomas Frank? Tell me.
Hold on. We knew that Savio wasn't coming for at least 2 weeks, if not more, right? If not longer.
Sure.
So when that happened, when we knew that Savio is re-signing with City, that we're not getting him, there were 3 weeks. If Frank wanted somebody, my assumption is, again, I'm not saying I don't know Jeff. I have no ITK sources, but the assumption is if he wanted somebody, Frank would push for left winger. We would not leave it until the very last day.
Okay. So then why? But why did they then? This is the answer I'm trying to get from you. If Frank is saying I don't need a left winger, I'm cool, it's good, then why did Spurs suddenly on the last day of the window try and get Lookman and Fofana if Frank is saying he didn't want them? That doesn't make sense. It's either Frank's fault or the recruitment team. Which one is it? How can
we know that those links were real? It's like, again, like the Guehi bid. We put in a bid for the purposes of looking like we're doing something. We knew we're not.
That's not how it worked. Can we just get this clear though, right? So let me play the scenario through with you, Eugene, right? So Spurs are bluffing their fans, right? For the purposes of looking like they're doing something, right? That's what you're saying. They're bluffing their fans, right?
They're putting maybe. I don't know. Again, I'm just trying to understand what's happening. Again,
to back up Eugene a little bit.
Let me land on this. So you're saying, like with the Guehi bid, yeah, Spurs had no intention of buying. It's absolutely fine because we knew it would get rejected. So what if the bid gets accepted? Is this the most expensive £70 million bluff in the history of football?
It's not.
By the way, Spurs did offer for Fofana, because Fofana has come out himself and said Tottenham wanted me on the last day, but they didn't give me enough time. So isn't it more like...
Well, exactly.
But
right. That's a part of it.
Isn't it more likely that Frank wanted a left winger and is pushing for the left winger and going, where is my left winger? Hence why Spurs went in the last day of the window to try and get one of these deals over the line.
We had 3 weeks at least to get something done.
Sure, but weren't we busy with Xavi Simons? Weren't we busy with Xavi Simons?
So, hold on. We signed them before... We signed Simmons with a week left, I believe. And even if that's the case, we can only sign... Like, it makes no sense. We can only work on one player at a time.
I agree with you, but that...
And so, again, it's a hypothetical. It's just interpretation.
I just fail to believe that Thomas Frank, looking at this squad, said, don't get me a left winger. There's no one out there I want. Yeah, don't get me Lookman or Fofana.
I'm just going by what Frank says. Like, let's be consistent. If we're holding the manager...
That's not what Frank said. That's not what Frank said. So can we please... listen, this frustrates the life out of me.
Frank said he was happy with Tell. No? He said he was happy with Tell. Tell is a good player. Let's be consistent about what managers are saying.
Eugene, please, for the love of God, when football fans do this, can we please add some reality to this? When Thomas Frank is asked about one of his players in a press conference, he's not going to turn around and go, him. No, he's shit. I don't want him.
Everybody did it to Ange last season. So I'm just trying to be consistent.
With
right?
What?
Everybody were analyzing Ange's quotes saying, oh, he said this, he said that. Again, I agree with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? No, I agree with you. I just want people to be consistent about what they're saying. What I'm seeing is, it's like when the narrative is convenient, it's not Frank, everything is Lange or Levy or Enoch. When the narrative goes the other way, it's all somebody else. I'm just trying to be consistent.
What? Give me an example.
But why is it so hard to believe that Frank had 2 targets, couldn't get them, and decided he might wait for the following window?
If that's the case, Benji, again,
I agree
that's
with
reasonable.
You,
but if that's the case,
so I'll ask you then. Why can't either of you give me an answer about Lookman and Fofana?
Well, number one, that Lookman, there is zero evidence that even came about. Zero evidence.
Fofana and his agent have actually
maybe Fofana, but then maybe the team that he plays for came out and said that's they're asking for too much money or whatever it may have been. I don't know, but by that point, I think Frank had seen enough from his wingers to know, hey, maybe we should get somebody. So, and Frank has said he has specific types of players that he wants, and maybe Frank wanted either Semenyo or Savino.
But Benji, if that's the case, then
do you guys understand what media training is? Do you guys understand the media training these managers go through? He's not going to come out and go, oh, I'll take anybody. Of course he's going to say, yeah, listen, I only want players that want to play for this club. I want the right players. That doesn't mean that every time we don't get a player that he's been offered loads. This is okay.
Hold on, Savva. So what are you saying? So you're saying that Frank wanted a left winger?
Wasn't as good as you think. You're sitting in the chat. I'm seeing you going, this is the best window we've had. He was given these players.
No.
This window wasn't as good as people like you think it was.
No. I didn't say it was a good window. I didn't say it was a good window. I said it was our best window in a while.
In terms of quality, it's the best we've ever had.
Yeah.
It was our best window in a while, not a great window.
Name me another window where we've signed more quality than we got this window.
Hang on, Sonny, Toby.
At the time, Sonny wasn't that great.
That window, there was loads that came in one of those windows.
Hold on.
But they weren't good quality players.
Every single one of you, Savva, you guys said that
name a window better and tell me the players.
But why is this window great? When you're saying name a window better,
because the level of quality we brought in, we brought in 4 players who walked straight into the first team. How's that not a good window?
Is it fair to say, guys?
Do we usually do that? Because we usually used to having one person walk into the first team.
So what happened in Ange's first year? How many came in that window?
Yeah, fair enough, but they weren't amazing quality. Whereas I feel like Kudus, Pauline, these players are top quality.
That was 2 years ago. Vicario, Van de Ven, James Maddison, Brennan Johnson all went straight into the first 11.
But nobody wanted Vicario. Nobody wanted Johnson.
Well, hang on. So what's your point here? That wasn't the point. The point was, Benji just said, name a window where we've signed that many players that go straight into the first 11.
Fine. Because at the time, who would have guessed some of those players would have got into the first 11? Mickey van der Ven was, in a lot of people's eyes, a bit of a gamble whether he'd work out or not. Vicario wasn't
playing football outside of England. Sure.
No, he wasn't a gamble. He was one of. No, Ben. Sorry, we need to before you carry on. He wasn't a gamble. He was one of the most up and coming players in the Bundesliga.
Maz, everyone
he had one good season.
Thank you.
That's why
one good season. He was a gamble. And Maz, I don't disagree with you much. You're one of my favourite panelists. I very rarely disagree with you. All I'm saying is, after one good season, he was a bit of a risk. So you weren't expecting to be good. However, the point being is, Maz, hear me out, right? Actual quality. Paulinho. Actual quality.
Paulinho and Kudus, 2. Yes. Xavi Simons is young, who's had probably one good season.
3 good seasons. Be brutally honest. Double figures, 3 different seasons.
Okay, but still young, not on the level for me of a Kudus or Paulinho. And Mawani. You bought Mawani, who's hit and miss and who's injured. So it was a brilliant window thing. Let's bring this back to some sort of reality, right? Xavi Simons, why was Xavi Simons signed?
Because we needed a quality 10.
Why?
Maddison got
we injured. Need some creativity.
Because Maddison got injured, right?
Yep.
So he was signed because Maddison got injured. Why was Mawani signed on the last day of the window?
Solanke injured.
Because Solanke was injured. So we're not talking about this great transfer window where we had these plans and everyone wanted to bolster the squad and we were going to build and grow. It was all born out of, oh shit, we've got a few injuries. What are we going to do? Right? And Mawani's hit and miss. So for me, I'm not going to put him into that quality bracket that you're trying to put him into. Sorry, I just think it's a bit of revisionism that this is some miraculous window when we've not addressed any of the key positions we needed to address.
But don't mistake it. We're not saying.
I'm not.
Sorry.
No. I mean, Benji, unless again, I don't think anybody's saying it was a great window. I gave it a 6 because we didn't sign a left winger and a striker. My initial point was it was a better window than we've had in the past, but it's still not good enough, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
And when we're bringing up my comment, Savva, when I was saying before that we can only score from set pieces and on goals, and I was told, but look at our goal tally. Once again, we scored from a set piece. We cannot create from open play. Again, whether it's on Frank or whether it's on Lang, I think it's both.
We didn't. When did we score from a set piece today?
It was a clearance from a set piece.
Second phase,
first goal.
Hang on. It was the second phase of play, mate. The ball was cleared out. Kudus got the ball on the left-hand side, whipped it in. Paulinho heads it back.
But it originated from a set piece. It didn't come from open play.
It doesn't count. Eugene, it doesn't count as a set piece.
I need to bang my head against the wall or something.
The ball was cleared. Because the ball was cleared, it's not a set piece.
But the ball, technically, Lubo, I agree. But the ball was cleared to Poirot to put in another cross.
It's phase 2. It doesn't count as a set piece. Promise you.
No, technically it doesn't count. But we're being honest.
I think it's fair to say. I mean, for me, the best window we had, I think we got Lloris, Dembele, Vertonghen in one window, I think, in 2012. We got Toby, Dele and Sonny, I think, in 2015. So in terms of getting some really quality players in, I'd say probably this was probably the best window we've had since 2015. Because Poch's team went virtually through. We didn't get any real stars while Poch was at the club after that. Apart from Wanyama was a really good buy. And since then it's been fairly, between then and 2022, 23, it's been fairly disastrous. We had a poor squad before Ange joined. Left us with Kane, Son, Romero, as top players, and I think and Bruschi came in, brought in Vicario, brought in Basuma, who all of us were excited about when he came in. brought in Udogie, brought in Savva. They were all really good buys at good prices. Vicario was wanted by top Italian clubs. I'm sure Dan will agree with. Yeah, you're nodding. So he was repairing again. Paratici was repairing the damage that had been done by the previous few years, going back 5, 6 years, 7 years. But we just didn't. We're not there. Ange came in, brought in 18 players plus Werner twice on loan. The only players that Ange I'm not talking about Paratici pre-Ange. I'm talking about from the day Ange joined on July the 1st. And yes, I know Paratici plus Ange equaled one pre-season. But let me just split the two. So when Paratici got his ban at the end of June, I think it was, Ange came in and Munn brought Lange in. And from then on, the only players who he bought that came into the first team that were bought as first team players, he brought 4 in from when Ange came July the 1st. He brought in Maddison, he brought in Van der Ven, he brought in Johnson, and he brought in Solanke. Bergvall was brought in as a kid. Bergvall played quite a lot of games and graded basically because of injury. And I think Bergvall has come on a bit, although probably not quite ready. He's not in the same level as a lot of the midfields that we've been talking about. But when you look at 18 players and only 4/5 out of 18, and you look at 380 million that Ange spent on 18 players, so we're averaging, what are we averaging? We're averaging 21 million per player. Now, Liverpool go and spend 350 million on 5 top players. And we're spending 380 million on 18 players. That shows you, for me, not only have you had poor recruitment, but we're not identifying the right players. We're not paying the right money. A lot of it, I think, was probably down to the wages, the wage cap, which I've been told Frank has told the club that has to go now. Otherwise, he's prohibited from looking at certain players that he wants to look at. So they're now getting a structure in the club. So we've now got a hope that from January the 1st onwards, the club are now in a position to go out with players identified and go and buy the right players at the right price. Now, for me, if a player is the right price, it could be 5 million. If you go and get a gem like a Dele Alli, or 15, 16 million like Modric, or you could go and get a player at 80, 90 million that you'd probably have to spend to get Semenyo if you could get him, whether it's Christmas, January or July. But it doesn't matter. That Frank just needs to bring his players in. The squad needs an overhaul. We need to get a really strong squad. We can all see, and today brought it bang into focus that we can not dominate a game, but we can control a game without looking dangerous because we're short of the right players. And ultimately, they hit two worldies from outside the box and they've come away with the points. So it shows us we're not that far away.
Can I ask a question, Luba?
Go on.
Do you mind, Savva, if asking a question? I don't want to.
No, go on.
So we've all been told that Frank is this genius coach. He's adapting to every team. He's doing, how come since the PSG game, we haven't seen him change his formation? We can all see what our weaknesses
we've
are.
only lost one game.
Before
today, we'd only lost one game, Eugene.
Well, okay, so are you saying
we've been very poor regardless?
We struggled in most games. Wolves, we struggled. Bordeaux, we struggled. Villarreal, we struggled. We struggled to score. So why not go to back three and try something else?
Eugene, look what we've lost from last season. How many goals and assists did we get from Son, Maddison, Solanke, and Kulu? Son's gone, and he's had Solanke for about 10 minutes.
I'll tell you, could someone in the chat work out for us?
How do you replace 90 GA?
But that's what.
Someone work out the exact number. Son, Maddison, Kulu, and Maddison last season. How many GA of those 4
it was
got?
91.
Right, and what have we replaced it with this year?
I suppose.
Not a lot.
So wait, but injuries. I thought injuries are excuses.
The only one with decent GA after 8
Hang on,
games.
Eugene, hang on. No, hang on. I'm not letting you get away with that, Lubo. No. Listen, mate, I'm not letting you get away with that absolute whopper. What do you mean injuries are an excuse?
Hold on.
Madison
never had medicine. He never had Kulu, so it's irrelevant.
Sure, but whoever the manager
have to do with this season?
What?
What does last season have to do with this season? Frank never had those players.
Eugene,
last
sorry, if I have
season.
to spell this out for you. Sorry, this is. Are you telling me, right? If I'm a manager, right, and I join a football club, and I go, right, one of the first things I'm doing is going, what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses of my football club? It's the first thing any manager will do. I.e., Thomas Frank went out and got Paulinho. Boom, right? I need a number 6. I think we all knew as a fan base we needed a 6. I'm now looking around and going, where are my goals and assists coming from? If you take out 90, someone say 92 or 91 GA from last year, right, Lou? When you're saying, what does that have to do with this season, Eugene? You can't just remove 91 GA and not put players in that can recover that 91 GA.
They were hurt before Frank got here. All I'm saying is we know that we're struggling to score goals. Why not change up the formation like you did in PSG when we were all told?
Sure, okay, you can change the formation. And now what does that change for the players that create and score goals?
The thing that it changes is
go to back 3 and try to put Kudus and Simmons, let's say, at the 10s with one striker, see what happens. Try something different. We're struggling.
Sure, yeah, but we're floating. Hang on. Yes, but we're now floating away from the point. We'll come back to that.
What's my point?
The point is, you said, what has last year's GA got to do with this?
I asked Luba a question first. I asked Luba a question about the formation, and then we got to the GA that we're missing, which responded those weren't his players to begin with.
That's a different question. And if you're saying to me, how would you try and fix things for the rest of the season? Personally, I go to 3 at the back.
Yep.
Right, I agree. You've got very strong. The best part of our team is the defence. Strengthen that. We've got two wing backs in Porro and Udogie, who are not being utilised to their full potential. You put them as wing backs. You've got Paulinho in the middle. So there's 6. There's 6 of your 10. You've then got Simmons, who I'm sure hopefully will settle in and will be a lot better than he was today. And I think people have got to stop. I've seen comments in comments coming in this evening. Simmons is shy. He's not going to make it. He's this and that. He had a bad game today, but hopefully, we've seen enough. He was brilliant at Brighton. If he can start recreating that on a consistent basis, he's going to be a very big player for the club going forward. But then you've got the basis of a team, and what you're doing. And I said this right at the start, and people did laugh at me and say, "Oh, why would you play Kudus in a front 2?" I would play Kudus in a front 2 personally, because I think.
Why hasn't he though, Lou? But that's not
the question. He can hold the ball. You could use Kudus to. No one gets the ball off him. He was surrounded by 2 or 3 players today. He just brushes them off.
And we all agree, Lubo. We all agree.
Ian.
The question is, why hasn't it been done? That's my question.
What has changed at this team? With the players we got, what has actually changed? Nothing. Reason being is because we haven't got players to cover the positions we need. Yeah. This team is no different, basically, from last season, except different players. But we haven't got different players for different positions. Right, our biggest problem is out wide. Yes, Kudus does a great job, but... he gets basically bossed out in a lot of games where he has 2 or 3 people on him. He's not a bloody robot. So, right, we're basically, for me, in the same situation that we have been for nearly 2 years now. This team is still made for a 3-4-2-1. The back 3 goes without saying, so does the goalkeeper. Then in the middle, you've got Paulinho. Then you've got the choice of Bentancur, Bergvall, whoever beside them. Then you either play with wings or you play with wing backs. Again, Porro, crap defender. Very good wing back at going forward. He's basically like a Trent, in my opinion. Although Spence, yeah, you get a bit more out of him on defence, definitely. And then for me, what you then go and do, people keep complaining about we haven't got a playmaker there and Savvy playing wide. That is why you play him as one of the number 10s and play him as the playmaker who could drift off as he wishes. And then you go and stick Kudus in the middle. You can have him as a sort of like Kulu job because he's done a perfectly fine job for it against against PSG, and you have him there as basically your boss man, as your target man who can drift out wide as he pleases as well. And then up front, it's going to be the gamble of who you go and put there. That's the one we have to deal with. I mean, at the moment, who do you put there? Tell, Richarlison, Solanke, Moane, spin a coin, put who you want there. But I think nothing has changed in the team, i.e. in players we've got. At the moment, if we keep playing, in my opinion, a 4-2-3-1, depending on who we're playing, we're still very weak in a certain position, and that is out wide. Savvy, he hasn't landed on his feet. I think give him a bit of time, he will adapt. But at the moment, he's had a good game. He's been okay, if we're being realistic here. Kudus, however, he's landed on his feet as playing a blinder. No two ways about it. But if we need someone to set up goals, because we haven't got a goal striker that can feed themselves, stick it in the middle. If the problem is out wide, which a lot of people keep saying, then take the problem and change it to the middle.
You know what?
The other option you've got, Dan, the other option you've also got is you could play Spence right back, push Porro further forward, and switch Kudus to the left.
No, you do not want Kudus on the left.
No, I think if you put Kudus on the left, I think you're wiping him out. I think he can cover it on the left, but I think you're wiping him out more on the left than if you put him in the middle. I think if you put him in the middle, we're giving him the option to drift wide or go forward as an attacking midfielder. You're still going to get 8 out of 10 out of him. You're still going to get significant. I personally believe if you put him on the left, you're going to take a hell of a lot out of him. Our problem is blatantly...
What made me think that, Sav? What made me think that? With the ball he put in today from the left, with his left foot, was super.
Yeah, if you look at his career, though, whenever he's played on the left, his stats go from there to there. Like, he's not productive. I like what Dan said. I don't disagree. I don't think it needs to be that for every game. I don't think we need to do that for every game, but I do think it's a bloody good option. My only reservations with it, so I'm not disagreeing with you, Dan. I do agree with you. My only reservations with that would be, one, moving Kudus out of that right wing. I don't know. It might work, but I feel like he offers us so much out wide. The other reservation I have with that is it's still up front. Who are Simmons and Kudus? And this, by the way, this is whatever formation we pick. Who are Simmons and Kudus feeding through? Because if you are feeding through Richarlison or Tell, this is where I say I don't really think it matters what formation you play.
Yeah,
if
agree.
you don't have a goal scorer who can hold the ball up, because it's all well and good saying that, Kudus can hold the ball up. We know he can. He's so good at it. But the thing is, a lot of the time, those midfielders will naturally drop in, right, when we don't have the ball. So the ball goes into Tell or Richarlison, whoever the centre forward is up in that team. The ball naturally bounces back off them. This is why when people say, "Oh, I tried Brennan Johnson there," and it's like, "Oh gosh, would you play Brennan?" That's my only concern, but I don't disagree, Dan. However, I don't think up until now, I don't even think it's a massive issue, because let's be fair, I think people are going well overboard, right? We've lost 2 games out of 8 in the Premier League and 2 in 12 in all competitions, right? Eugene can shake his head. That's a fact. You can shake your head at my fact. It's a fact, right? He's lost 2 of 12 football games. We are harder to beat. Even if you look at today, Lubo had it spot on. Aston Villa had 2 shots on target in the game, right? Vicario had nothing to do. So you can see the improvements. We are harder to beat. We're not conceding as many shots. We're not yada, 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 yada. So I get it now, but I feel like everyone's talking like we've lost 8 in a row. Everyone's waiting. It's almost like people are waiting for Thomas Frank to lose a game. Bearing in mind, this is the first defeat in 8, right? So I'm gonna vent, right? It's my channel. I'm gonna do that. It's my ball, right? None of you can play, right? I'm gonna vent. This is his first defeat in 8 games, but by every comment, you would think that Tottenham are bottom of the table, right? People going, "Oh, but Ange this, but Frank this," but people come in with Eugene. I see it all the time. He's supposedly this great coach. Coaching doesn't happen like that. Coaching takes time. Coaching, you still need to have the right players. And like Dan said, we don't have the right players. We don't have the options. So this whole, he's supposed to be a coach, yada, yada. Well, he has. He's coached us to 2 defeats in 12 games of football. 2 defeats in 12. We are 2 points off of second. So you can shake your head. You can do that, Eugene. I'm spitting facts. Everything I've said is factual. Prove me wrong. Go.
Can I just before you come in, Eugene, can I just come in? You asked me.
Well, Lubo's just ruined my clip that I was planning, but thank you. Go on, mate.
Thank you, Lubo. Thank you, Lubo.
Eugene, you asked me a question a few minutes ago about what Frank's meant to be this great coach. Let me tell you what Frank has done in 3 months. Frank has taken us from a team that were giving away 20, 24 shots every match to being defensively sound, structured, organised in a very, very short space of time. That's what Frank has done. Now, you can't go from a team that's 17th to a team that's going to challenge for the league in 3 months. Frank has started that way. You know, you look at Arsenal, everyone's saying, no, Arsenal aren't even conceding shots now on goal. And that's their strength. And they're going from there. If they're not conceding, they get one like they did at Fulham yesterday. They weren't particularly great. No one thought Arsenal, but that's how you win leagues. You're not great. You're tight at the back. You get one chance, bang, it's in the back of the net. That's what Frank's doing. Now, Frank's got to start somewhere. You give Frank 2 or 3 years. In the first 3 or 4 months, he's got us organised structurally, defensively. We're looking solid defensively. No one takes liberties with Spurs defensively now.
Did you feel under pressure, Lubo, at any point today? Did you really feel under pressure from Villa?
No, they won with 2 worldies, didn't they? There were 2 fabulous shots.
2 shots from outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Two shots that we should have closed down as well. But they were 2 brilliant shots.
Yes, you're
right.
Dan,
but what I mean is, Dan, is no one's like Bournemouth peppered our goal. Other than that, our goal isn't being peppered. Other than that, Vicario isn't having to make 10, 12, 15 saves a game. Right?
When it comes to Frank, I feel in one aspect, you could say he has to make Spurs better. It wasn't bloody hard.
Train Monkey could have done it.
It wasn't, but to make us good is different. Now, the easy job he had was to fix that defence. Any one of us could have fixed that defence. Don't use 2 guys, drop them back 10 yards. You're now conceding round about 15 to 20 less goals. But now he's got to improve on the rest. Midfield, I think he's got pretty much sorted. We've got the players there for it. We've got the players there on defence side, unless we get 2 bad injuries there, maybe. It's up front where we got the problems. So really what he's got to do is adapt and play with the cards he's got to what he can get the most out of this team up until January. Because January, it's going to be hard to buy a player, but January is where we're going to see how much this club really means business or whether it was all bullshit. And then when it comes to the following window, that is when we're going to see if we really mean business. Because we know January, it's not easy to do it. I still just think our biggest problem is out wide and our biggest problem is up front.
Great.
So take one of the problems out of it. Now, every game we don't have to do that. There's going to be
and a number 8.
That's another one as well.
Number 8 is massive for this football club.
But again, people say, why didn't he get a left wing? Maybe he only had the option of getting one or the other. Maybe he only had that choice. Right, you can have that or you can have that, and that's all there is to it. We know what Spurs were still under Levy. We know what we were still like. It wasn't going to happen that we were going to get both. We never, ever do that. If it was, it would have been a bloody shock. And maybe he had the only option of getting one or the other. And the question I still keep asking is, what was Simmons actually bought for? Was he actually bought for the 10 or was he actually bought for the left? Because the season before, which he was really ranked on, he played more games out on the left and created and scored basically just as many as he did as the 10. So did Frank buy him to cover both sides when needed, or did Frank buy him as a 10, or did he buy him as an inside forward? What did he actually get him for? Because I don't think any of us actually know for a fact yet what he actually got Simmons for.
But Dan, I think that's a little bit of a moot point because he had good players around him in his previous clubs, or better players around him in his previous clubs, certainly in the forward positions, which allowed him to shine. And it was a different league as well. That's a big factor as well. So whether or not he's bought for the left or the number 10 role or whatever, it's a little bit immaterial because we just don't, apart from Kudus, we can all agree that our forward lineup and our attacking midfielder options with Kulu and Maddison being out are diabolical. And even with Kulu coming back, we don't know what Kulu we're going to get. Are we going to get the Kulu that has 10 good games and 20 crap games?
Surely he's going to be a bit rusty, and he
exactly. And
sort of
is Maddison going to be the same player now? He's getting a bit older. Is this injury going to sort of take something away from him? Is he going to take a year to get back to his normal self? We just don't know. And so we're in the real predicament as a club, and we do need to do, as the youth would say, we do need to do bits in January. But this is not. I don't put this on Frank at all. What's happened? Why we're going to have an up and down season? Why some of the passages of play look boring, or some of the games look boring? I mean, I do think Frank is of a mold of someone like a Conte. Maybe he's a bit more adaptable in terms of the way he plays than Conte is. But then I say that, but I think Conte's, well, I'm not going to go on about Conte, but this is all of what we're seeing now. We should not be surprised about, because we've had 2 years, right? Or 5-6 years of bad recruitment, plus 2 years of Ange. You spent 300 to 400 million pounds, and we haven't actually massively improved our squad over and above of what we had before. In areas we have, right? But in other areas we haven't. Where we've gained, we've lost massively.
It was one of the first windows, Maz, that we actually went for quality over quantity. Now, if we go for the quality of the players, you can say it was a good window.
Yeah.
I mean, there was what you could say 2 established players there. Simmons was bought on 2 good seasons, but a majority of him is still bought on, in my opinion, potential he's got due to his age. Basically, you didn't just buy him for how good he is now, you bought him because you want him to improve as well, where he's 22 sort of thing. So you've obviously bought him for the potential side as well. And Mawane, I suppose we can say, is established as well. With the players that Ange brought in and everything else, literally most of them, down to Van der Ven as well, was pure potential. He had 1 good season behind him. He wasn't established worldwide. He was just known a bit. He had 1 solid season behind him. He's turned out to be probably one of the best buys we've made in a very long time. But for quality-wise, the window wasn't bad. But we actually needed quality and quantity at the same time, but not quantity and crap. We actually went and got some quality established players, but we got nowhere near enough of what we needed. And
Dan,
I think a lot of
wasn't the problem that we spent most of the time covering what we lost rather than actually
that is the Tottenham way.
When do we go out and go, right, here's our squad, now let's add 3 quality players on top of it? What we did was lost players, bring a few in, and we go, what a good window. Yeah, but you haven't we haven't added to the squad. We haven't added numbers.
No.
Still got...
When Ange first came in his first season on Tottenham away, I said I wasn't that happy that with the window that Ange, when he first came in, we got Vicario, VDV, Maddison, because in my eyes, and people can go back and watch, I said Maddison was brought in to appease the fans because we just lost Harry Kane, right? And the fans don't accept Richarlison. VDV was brought in because we lost Sanchez, which is not really much of a loss, right? And we had Eric Dyer and Clement Longap in the team, right? So we needed VDV. We're desperate for another defender, and we needed someone to partner Romero because he had the donkey Dyer next to him, and Vicario came in because Lloris down tools and left.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I agree.
So it goes to your point, Savva. We never buy players strategically to build. Right. When Ange came in and he signed those 16 players, they're all rubbish. Near enough. Let's be honest. Right. We had the same problems when Ange came in as when he left. Exactly the same problems. Because we lost players as well during that time. He got rid of...
Don't you think this is where fans get confused between squad building and having a good window?
Absolutely,
If you actually look, Spurs went into the Champions League this year. and you're thinking, right, we've got to add depth and quality. You lose Son, fine. You knew Son was going. You don't replace him, right? You bring in a DM. Well, we needed a DM because we didn't have one. Like, we didn't have a DM.
And sold our DM the season before.
Okay.
Oh, so it's Ange now. So when it's Frank, it's not Frank, but before it was
Ange, Lange, Flange, Levy, doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, but okay, let's be consistent.
I don't think no, Eugene. This is the problem. He's just using the Ange era.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not.
He's just using the Ange era, right? Kudus, you would say, we didn't really have a right winger. If we're going to be brutally honest, we didn't really have a right winger. We kept playing Kulu out there or Johnson, but other than that, what did we actually do to the squad? You've replaced Maddison, who's out for a year, with Simmons. What did we actually do to build that squad this summer? Where's the depth? Where is it? What did we do? We are in a position where our wingers, our left wingers, are Odeber or Tell or Brennan Johnson. That's what we built on the left.
The only part that I can look at and I think, I think we've done decent enough for where we are as a club currently is the defence. VTV's worked out. That's good. He's one of my favourite players in that team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Danzo is a good defender. I don't think he's amazing. I think he's a good, solid.
A good squad player. I thought
he's a good defender.
Yeah, fucking brilliant player.
I've got to say this as well. This has been bugging me now. I think Poros regressed. He had that brilliant first season under Ange. I thought, oh, go on, son, you've done quite well that season. The second season he was awful, and this season he sort of carried on from that.
Because now but now you're seeing him being asked to do what a right back should do, and it's exposing him. That's why.
Because he's
as said, Poros a fantastic footballer. As a footballer, fantastic. As a defender,
yeah, exactly.
He's
and Spencer's luckily come good, which has solved a few problems for us. But Adoji's constantly injured. Romero's injured. Is this the Romero now we're going to have all season? 5 games plays, 3 games injured. 5 games plays.
He's played 10 games, isn't it?
No, but I'm being sarcastic, right? It's I'm not like spitting out exact stats. I'm being sarcastic.
Maz, hang on. 2 years ago, he missed 7 games out of 41. Okay, and last year he missed many more than he should have done because they rushed him back against Chelsea, and he was out for 3 months. So I don't think you look. This is where stats.
Savva's got the stats, man. We've been through this a million times.
We've been through this a million times, Lubo. The stats show you how much football he's missed in his career. He is always injured.
Well,
yep. Savva, can we go back to the question you asked me 20 minutes ago?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you your clip.
Yeah, but now I can't do it with as much anger. Like now I can't.
Perfect. Exactly. That's perfect. So now maybe I'm going to have a chance. So look, when you and Lubo talk about Villa and Dylan had 2 chances or whatever, Villa until today they scored 6 goals in the league, and Watkins weren't starting. So saying that Villa was toothless up front as well, that's not saying much. Also, when you say like, why are my expectations so high when we haven't lost games? I mean, I'm expecting us to beat Wolves. I'm expecting us to beat Bodo not to have 38% possession. We've had an easy run of games relatively to other teams.
Yes.
I mean, we've played Bodo. We played
easier than what's
Wolves.
Coming up.
Oh, you may have the facts. You may have the facts with 1 games.
Hold on. So all I'm saying is they're only against City and Brighton, maybe part of the game where we actually look good. Every game or most of the games we won on own goals, on deflections. So looking at the stats,
and we've been pissed poor. And I've seen you after match reviews, mate.
Even
you weren't happy.
Yes.
Deflections. Deflections don't count then.
They're not sustainable. So
What getting do you mean they're not sustainable?
Hold on. Getting a point against the Wolves, I should be right to question that. There is no excuse. Going to Bodo and getting lucky to get a point at Bodo.
Sure, but you know the problem with this theory, Eugene? The problem with this theory is by you going through this theory, you're basically saying we should win every game of football that we play at Tottenham Hotspur.
We should beat Wolves every time. We should beat Bodo every time.
Hang on. But Eugene, that's not how football works, is it? That's like, who wins every game, right?
I'm talking about the worst team in the league, Savva.
Hang on.
That's my expectation. I'm not expecting us to beat Brighton's.
Sure. Let me finish, right? It's funny that when people are going, we've had an easy start. Okay, we've played Man City, right? It was second in the table. We've played Brighton away. We never get anything at Brighton away, do we? We're always rubbish at Brighton away, right? But hang on, that's what? Go on, what?
No, but I mean, context. When we beat City, they were struggling. Again, when I say easy start, it's in comparison to what's coming up. I'm not easy, right?
You can't get away from the fact that we've been
a comparison to something. Comparing to what we have come. That's why I'm concerned about our next games, because we've struggled against
hang on.
teams
You're jumping around. What is the point you're making? You're making 15 million points here.
My point is,
hang on. 1 minute it's about we should be beating Wolves. The next minute we've had an easy run. The next minute we've got tough games coming up. Pick a lane, stay in it, and I can answer the question.
That's all related.
You can't exempt Frank from criticism.
Hold on, Benji.
Benji, I'll destroy you in a minute, mate. You've got the worst takes I've ever seen. I'll deal with you in a second. Let me deal with Eugene first. I'll come to you in a minute, mate.
You point at the stats and saying we only lost 2 games.
Is that a fact or not?
So negative, right?
Is that a fact or not?
Yes, that's a fact. But there's context. It's like saying the Brennan Johnson is an excellent player because of his goal scoring numbers. Right? There's context. Context. Hold on. Context. We've had an easy schedule compared to the games that are coming up. We haven't looked good, bar Man City and maybe Brighton. We got lucky. Let's be honest. In a lot of those games, we should be able to beat Burnley's, Wolves, and Bodos, and we're struggling to pick up points, right? Villa has been struggling to score all season.
No. Hang
on, Lubo, let him go. Let him go, because I'll destroy this. This absolute, we're just making things up. This is just making.
What are we making up? It's factually correct. We've been lucky in most of our games.
But what? So you could say Arsenal have been lucky in most of their games. You could say Man City have been lucky in most of their games.
But it's different, right? Arsenal, we know they're a good team. So we know they're a great team.
We know they've had a manager for 6 seasons who spent over £1 billion. Yeah.
Hold on. All I'm saying, I don't understand how, like, me expecting us to beat Wolves and Bodo, I don't know why all of a sudden that's this, like, over the top expectations.
You haven't actually let me address any of this. You haven't let me address any of it because you've made about 95 points in one
But it's
go.
the same point, Savva. It's the same point.
No, it's not the same point. Let me address them, right? First and foremost, right, when we're saying we've had an easy start, is Bournemouth an easy game?
It's compared to what's coming up next, Savva. That's what I mean, right?
No,
okay, fine.
No, we're not doing.
Well, context.
We're not doing that. Right? Because if we're going to play your game, Bournemouth then are a harder game than what we've got coming up because they're above Everton and Chelsea in the league. So pick a lane, stay in it. Okay. Is Bournemouth an easy game?
No.
Okay. Is West Ham away an easy game?
Yes.
Based on not winning
based on this season. Based on this season, because they're a terrible team.
Hang on. See, but this is the thing. If we're going to play this game, we can find a reason why everything's shit. If we're going to play this game, we have not won at West Ham for 7 years, right?
But
hang on, Eugene. I let you waffle for a long time, right? We have not beaten West Ham for 7 years. We go to West Ham, right?
Sorry, didn't Jose beat
7 years ago?
Really? Fuck.
6 years ago, seven games ago, it was 7 trips to West Ham. If I'm not wrong, right, Lubo? You're backing up on this.
4 or 5 seasons, then, yeah.
We've not been to West Ham and won for 7 years. And we go there, it's an easy game. Is Leeds United away an easy game?
Yes, it should be.
Yes. Okay, no. Just when I ask you a question, just
Go.
Leeds United, who have not lost at home in 14 months, is an easy game. Brilliant. There we go. So West Ham's an easy game. Leeds United away is now an easy game, even though they haven't lost there for over a year.
They're a relegation team, Savva.
Let me finish, right? Let me finish. West Ham is not an easy game away. West Ham is not an easy game away. And Man City is not an easy game away. We've taken 9 points from those 3 games. Brighton is not an easy game. We should have won that game. We were excellent on that day. Unluckily, we came away with a point. But it's okay to talk about when we're lucky. What about when we're unlucky? We deserve to batter Brighton. We were much the better team than Brighton for nearly 90 minutes of that game. But 2 mistakes, they scored 2 goals, and we came away with a point. So from those 4 away games, right? We've battered West Ham. We battered Man City, right? We didn't batter Leeds. It was a really hard-fought win. And we got a really good point away at Brighton, right? So there's 4 of your 8 games where I'm not saying we have been lucky. No, we weren't lucky in any of those games. We were actually unlucky, right? Now the home games. Burnley, we weren't lucky. We deserved to win. Bournemouth, we were lucky we didn't get absolutely destroyed, to be honest. Yes. They should have won about 4 or 5-0, right? Wolves, you could say we're lucky to get the point. I didn't think Wolves done a thing against us in 90 minutes. They got the goal from the corner. We weren't good. And fair enough, I'll concede. We were lucky to get the draw against Wolves. There you go. Even though we were the better team. And today, I would say we were unlucky not to get a point because we were the better team than Aston Villa, right? So when you're going to break it down that we've had this really easy start, we've played Aston Villa, who have been a bloody good football team for 3 seasons and are the second most informed team in the country right now, right? Which you shape. But why are you doing that?
6 goals, Savva. They scored 6 league goals until today.
Eugene?
The last 3 games, Eugene. In the last 3 games. 6 in the last 3
and
games.
Watkins wasn't playing either until the very end.
No. Hang on. They didn't score in 4. They've scored 6 in the last 3 games. That's Eugene, good going.
Are Villa in form?
Yeah. I'm not saying they're a bad team. I'm not saying
no, they're not a bad team. They're the most informed team in the country outside of Arsenal, who are top, right?
So losing to Villa is fine at home.
No. Eugene, yeah, this isn't the Senate House. This isn't politics. You can't spin that shit like that. That's not what I said. You said, right, we've had an easy start. Aston Villa is not an easy game. Brighton is not an easy game. Leeds away isn't easy. West Ham isn't easy. Man City isn't easy. Now, the game against Wolves, yes, we should be winning and getting 3 points. But you're just writing off a team under a brand new manager that's been hard to beat, and everything is lucky. Everything is lucky. We're lucky.
I think he's using...
I'm not writing him off, Savva. I'm saying we all agree we should be finishing...
You expect us to rock up and just beat everybody?
No.
He's using the wrong phrases, Savva. I think, Eugene, you're using the wrong phrases, yeah? When it comes to the Premier League, it's the best league in the world for a reason, because there is no easy game. It's considered the best league in the world for a reason because Leeds can go and beat Man City and a few people are raising eyebrow and just say, wow, yeah, but it's the Premier League. It happens. Whereas you go and look at other leagues and you go to somewhere like Germany and St. Pauli goes and beats Dortmund or Munich, it's absolute shock and horror. It don't happen. Whereas the Premier League, there is no easy game, but there is easier games than other games. There is no easy game. Now, the games we've had at the moment, you could say they were easier than the games we've got coming up, I think. Yeah, but there is no easy game there as such. Yeah, I'm just saying I think you've used the phrase the wrong way. There is
again,
no
like all of us said we expect Spurs, given the squad, given the new manager, to finish anywhere between 5th and 7th, right? At least most streams that I've heard of. So my expectations, as said, we're going to finish 5th or 6th, right? So based on those expectations, we should be beating the likes of West Ham, who've been shocking, who are fighting relegation, the likes of the Wolves. And when we go to Bodo, we should be able to beat Bodo. And so that's my expectation, because I know we're going to struggle against Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool's.
Bodo very good at home?
No, look, we
battered them last season.
Better than Bodo and should have beaten.
Hang on.
We should be beating these teams.
We battered them last season, Savva.
Yeah. But Benji, I hate to break it to you. Okay, so on paper, why didn't Liverpool beat Man United today? So on paper,
I'm not talking about Liverpool, Man United. I'm talking about Tottenham and Tottenham's games.
You're deflecting.
No. But hang on. I'm using your silly rhetoric back to you. Okay, so on paper, why did Liverpool lose to Crystal Palace the other week? So on paper, right? Because you know why, Benji? Because football's not played on paper. If football was played on paper, the league table's set all year for us. We just go, they're the best, they're second, they're third. That's not how it works. Bodo have a bloody good home record. They have a bloody good home record, right? They're very good at home. They've beaten a lot of very good teams at home. But Eugene, you keep doing this thing.
Like who? Which very good teams have they beaten at home?
I mean, look at their Europa League and their Champions League for the last 3 or 4 seasons. They've beaten some very good teams at home.
They're no mugs, but we should be beating them.
Come on, Savva. There's a different levels.
Sure, but hang on. This is the funny thing, Eugene, because you are an Ange sympathizer. All last year, yes, you are. All last year, right? Every time Spurs lose a game, there is an excuse from everybody. It's acceptable. We lost because of this. We lost because of that. We lost because of this. We lost because of that. Thomas Frank has lost 2 out of 12. 2 out of 12, right? And you are talking, and Benji is talking as though we are the worst fucking football team in the league, right? And that we're going to get relegated.
Nobody said. I just said expect to beat Wolves and expect to beat Bodo. And if
so
we cannot beat those teams, we're in trouble.
Why haven't we beaten Wolves in the last 5 attempts then?
Why does it matter?
But
why? Because it shows.
How's that relevant?
But I'll tell you the relevance. I'll tell you the relevance. Think about it. You're bringing evidence to the table saying, I expect us to beat Wolves. Cool. Why then haven't we been able to beat them for the last 5 attempts of playing them?
How does that matter? If they're a relegation level team this season, why
they were a relegation level team last season?
And they lost their tallies, man. Same as Bournemouth.
So, but what does it matter?
We're
talking about this game.
Hang on, right. So, but you get my point. You two talk like football is black and white. He's up there going, on paper. You're down here going, we should beat these. Cool. So if we should beat these, why didn't we beat relegation-threatened Wolves last season? Twice.
Yeah. Look, can I throw my 2 cents in real quick?
Don't tell me it doesn't matter. Tell me why.
Because we're a much better team than Wolves are. So we should be beating them every time. That's my expectation.
No, that's not what I asked. Now with 2 of these, why didn't we beat them twice last year? Why did we not manage to beat Wolves last year twice and the season before?
We were a terrible team last season.
And the season before?
I don't know. We just didn't beat them.
But again,
you get my point. Magic,
we should just beat them. 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 When I bring facts to the table,
what facts? Hold on, Savva. Again, wait, is this like a Twilight Zone? Are you saying we should not be expected to beat the relegation teams? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but you're talking like we've got an entitlement to beat them, yeah? Now, I totally agree with what you're saying.
We should be able.
No,
we should.
That's
if we're
different.
Top 6 team,
certain
we should
teams,
be able to beat those teams.
But there is no. I agree with what you're saying, but there's no entitlement there. There is no entitlement.
Of course, there's no entitlement. So then we're not a top 6 team. Then we're a top 10 team. Like again, if we're top,
Eugene, we are a top 10 team at the moment with this.
So there you go. So let's change our expectations.
Where we are. We're not top 6.
Does that mean we have to beat every team in the bottom 10? Is that how? Sorry, just so I need to know how this works. So in your mind, we're a top 10 team. That means every time we play a bottom 10 team, we've got to beat them. Because by that reckoning, if my math works out, that's guaranteed 20 wins a season for every team in the top 10. Tell me if my math works there, people.
So, if we played really well, let's say if we play well for the 7 games and we had 1 bad game, yes, it happens. I'm saying there's a pattern. We haven't, bar 1.5 games this season, we have not played well. We've gotten points, which is great.
A pattern of what? A pattern of what?
A pattern of us not playing well.
We played really well,
which is not sustainable.
But this is sorry, Eugene. Sorry, mate. Sorry to all the other panelists. Sorry, you're gonna have to listen to this. Sorry, but this is this is subjective. You've said other than a game and a half this season, we've not played well, right? We were brilliant against Man City for 90 minutes.
That's the game. Right? Yes, that's one.
Right? We were very, very good against Brighton for most of the game. Very good against Brighton for most of the game. And it was only because we made two horrendous mistakes, one from Vicario and one from Odegaard, right?
Sure.
As to why we only got the draw, right? We were very good second half against West Ham, if I'm going to be generous to the half, right? We were very good against Leeds for a long period of the game against Leeds where they didn't get anywhere near us, right? Today, we played well in patches as well. Burnley, we were very good against Burnley. So we've played well for 1.5 games of football this season. This is just made up to suit the narrative.
Savva, you said they made a mistake. Villarreal, we beat them because their keeper made a mistake.
Sure.
So mistakes don't matter. Ultimately, again.
Of course they matter.
That's just an excuse.
Can I come in here?
No,
that's an excuse, Savva.
This is the problem. No. The excuse of what? The excuse was, my point was, we played well against Brighton, right? We played very well against Brighton. We had chance after chance. We opened them up in that second half. When Xavi Simons came on, he was excellent. Kudus ripped them to pieces, right? But you're going on that we've played well, right? You're saying we've played well for 120 minutes this season. And that is simply not true. What do you expect from Tottenham? Can I tell you some facts, Eugene? This is what frustrates me. This is what frustrates me about our fan base, right? This is what frustrates me. We have a manager who has picked up an absolute shit show, Eugene. He has picked up an absolute shambolic mess from the manager that you praised all last year. He has picked up a team that can't defend to save their lives, right? He has picked up a team that more often than not went on that pitch last year and they went back into the dressing room with an L, right? He has picked up a team with no structure, no shape, no midfield, no defense, no patterns of play. He has come into this club with one window, right? With one window, has lost 2 games out of 12 across 4 competitions. He's through in the next round of the League Cup. He's got 4 points from 6 in the Champions League, and we're sitting 6th in the Premier League, 2 points off second. And we got fans like you going, but we should be winning this, we should be winning that, we should be better at this. This man should be getting a medal for what he's done at this football club in the space of 3 months. And instead, he's getting abused by entitled fans that can't seem to remember or take their brains back 6 months to how shit we were. That's why I'm frustrated, Eugene, because fans like you can't remember how fucking terrible it was to be a Spurs fan last season every week watching our team get ripped open. I'm not watching my team get ripped open anymore. Yeah? But does that mean we're going to win every game we play? No, it does not. Why? Because we've not got the best squad in the league. Does it mean we are going to score 3 or 4 goals a game? No, because Frank isn't a magician. He can't make Richarlison, Tell, Odegaard and Johnson good footballers, right? So why don't fans get off his back a little bit and instead of trying to put him down and say we've only played well for a game and a half, realise we've got one of the best defences in the league, right? We've got the 3rd or 4th best attack in the league, right? And we've only lost 2 games out of 12. What is it that you want?
Because it's context, Savva. With 4 own goals, yes, they count as goals. Bournemouth could have put 5 or 6 against us. Again, I'm not expecting us to beat City or Brighton or even Bournemouth. I am expecting us to beat the likes of West Ham, Burnley, and Wolves.
But we did beat City. And we did get a point against Brighton.
Which is great. But the relegation teams we should be beating if we are talks. Lubo, if you're saying we're a top 10 team, good, that's fine. In that case, I agree. I had us top 6, right? A top 6 club. If we're saying we're top 6, we need to have bigger expectations to how we play. I haven't been impressed.
So we've just got to win every game against every team that's below us in the table.
Can we try and bring Eugene? Let's just bring some reality to the table. We've gone from 17th. With no structure, no organisation, teams that we got 5 points from the last 12 games last season, 5 out of 36. Think about that. I've never seen a run like that. I didn't even see a run like that when we got relegated in 1977. Never, ever seen a run like that in 60 years of following Tottenham.
Right, Luba, but our talent was not 17th place team, right?
Hang
That's
on,
why
hang
Ange
on,
was
a
sacked.
second. Hang on one second. Hang on one second. Let me just say that the level of footballers in the Premier League, every single team, doesn't matter whether it's Burnley or Arsenal, there are quality players in those teams. Okay, that, as Dan said, there are no easy games. There aren't. There are games that you look, again, you look on paper. That's great. Everything's great on paper. And because it's on paper, that's why the bookies are rich most of the time. They don't lose money. Because people play the bookies on paper. We should win that. We should win that. Let's do an accumulation there. They'll win. They'll win. They'll win.
Lubo, what was my acca last night? What did I lose my acca on last night?
It was Leicester, wasn't it? Leicester Portsmouth.
But according to Benji, on paper they won it.
So the point I'm making is that when you consider the amount of goals we've lost, forget goals and assists, because obviously 91, you've got some players obviously who have, Maddison's played Solanke in, etc. Maddison might have played Son in. But we probably lost. We scored 104 goals last season. We probably lost between 60 and 70 by losing Son, Maddison, Solanke, and Kulu. Now that's not Frank's fault. Sorry, we've got one player gone, 3 players injured. But sorry, it leaves a massive hole in terms of scoring goals. Now the only player who's come in, who's doing those sort of figures in goals and assists is Kulu, who's got 5 from 8. He's scored one and he's assisted in 4. Sorry, the rest of them.
You all right there, Lou?
Yeah, I've had a bad cough for days. That's what. Thanks. But you've got to take into account we've lost all those goals from last season, right? 3 out of the 4 players are still at the club. And if they weren't injured, they would be contributing. We've got no 9. We've got no 11. We've got no 8 who actually plays the ball forward. Like Romero plays balls through the lines from the back. We've got no one that does the same in midfield, right? We are short squad-wise, very short up front. Okay, so when you consider all of that, and then look at the other teams, take Palace. Palace have lost one game all season, haven't they? I think they've lost 1 game in 21. Now, you would think on paper, would you say Spurs have a better squad than Palace? Maybe not. Yeah. They're only a point behind us. Okay? They could well finish up above us. Our squad is short. We are short in key positions. And you saw that today where we had plenty of the ball. We controlled the game. Villa never controlled the game. They never had 20, 25 minutes where they controlled it and knocked it around and we couldn't get near them. We controlled the game. We just didn't have anything. We had no bite up front. That was the problem. We're toothless. So when you consider all of that, we're not entitled to win any game, whether it's on paper or on grass. Spurs have got to earn those wins because we are desperate. We're strong at the back. We're very strong at the back. And you can understand why Frank has come in and he said, right, I've got the players at the back to build the foundations for this squad. It's going to take Frank 3 or 4 windows to get the players in that he wants. Because there are players here who are patently not good enough. And you hope that any 1 or 2 out of Bergvall, Gray, Vuskovic, Moore, Donnelly, etc., Luca Williams, Barnett, Thompson, Byfield, impressed that he was on the bench. Frank obviously wanted to give him some more experience. Frank obviously rates Byfield very highly. And from what I'm told, he plays in a similar style to Ledley. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing him.
He didn't want to give him experience here, and he just put him there because there was no one else there. Be real.
He could have played. He could have. I'm sure he wasn't the only.
If he wanted to give him experience, he would have played him.
Thompson there. He could have played Williams.
He could have played Mickey Mouse there. He had him on the bench because there was no one there.
Anyway, forgetting that, we are short. Hopefully, these players come through. We've now got a structure at the club You've now got Paratici back. Hopefully now they will have the players sorted out. And there's no reason, you take the 11. For me, there's no reason why you don't go to Lyon, who are in desperate financial trouble, and go and buy Fofana on the 1st of Jan, because they need money.
Well, this is the point, Lubo, though. Like, the whole of bloody Europe is in desperate financial trouble. We could have. What we don't do as a club is bully the European teams to give us what we want.
But Maz, they are paying a fortune. I think they're paying God knows how many millions, tens of millions in interest every year.
Yeah,
because their debt is so high.
So can I just say this ever so quickly, because it's bugging me. I'm going to give another terrible take, Sav. Look,
do you know how I knew you? Do you know how I knew you? Do you know how I know you're about to give a terrible take?
Go on.
Because your lips are moving.
That's not fucking nice, is it? Look, listen. For me, when I feel like you establish a pecking order in the league via on paper, because otherwise it'd be a very difficult thing to not sort of come to a conclusion that team's got better players, so they should be beating such and such. That's usually how a pecking order works.
Sure.
I just wanted to say this. My only point with Thomas Frank is I don't think he should be exempt from criticism. At the end of the day, no, that's fine. This is just my point. I don't feel like he is. I'm going to say this much, right? And to an extent, I agree with Eugene. Look, we've played well, and I'm going to include the PSG game here, 3 times this season where we've looked real good. However, for me, every other game, aside from those 3 games, I feel like we've been relatively poor. And Sav, you can shake your head, but I watch your watch-alongs, mate, and your face at the end of every watch-along, bar those 3 games, has said what I felt.
Which 3 games did we play well?
Brighton, City, and PSG for me. The rest, and you got to understand. Again, you can say, "Oh, but he's saying."
So hang on, we didn't play well for the majority of Leeds. We didn't play well for the majority of West Ham.
We had the ball a lot, but
we didn't play well against. We didn't play well against Burnley. We didn't play well.
Very blunt in all of these games, Sav. That's
how many chances do we have, Savva? We didn't generate a lot.
This is the thing. You say this, but your face at the end of these games.
On playing well, then.
Controlling the game well, making plenty of chances.
West Ham we did.
Putting things away at the end of the day. Like,
okay,
look,
West Ham.
you can say what you want, but you cannot get away from the fact that we have been relatively poor in our games that we've played. Are you going to sit there and tell me we've done well in more than?
No. See, Ben. I think the problem with saying
you guys deserve Ange. Sorry, Maz. These guys deserve Ange, right?
So we've played well every game this year. We've dominated.
Well.
Oh, Maz. Well, I think you need to separate. Like when you say we played well, there's large parts of the games where we haven't lost, obviously, where we haven't been scintillating football, like playing great football, but we've defended well, we've been organised, we've been compact, right? That for me is good. That's what I want to see my team do, right? Now, some people, this is one of the main criticisms when Conte was there, right? They didn't like his style of football. I liked his style of football. I just thought he didn't have the players to play good football. And this is the same situation as Frank is in now. He doesn't have the attacking lineup to play the football that I think you want to see. Therefore, when you're looking at the games, you're thinking we're not playing good football. We're not playing well. And yeah, Odebertel, Richarlison, who else can we add to the list? Johnson, Bentancur at times, Sarr. Yeah, we'll do like we're playing crap because they're not very good footballers. Well, they're average footballers, right? They're not great footballers. Well, so don't know, man. Like, look, at the end of the day, regardless of what you think our football's like, we've only lost 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely.
End of story.
Absolutely.
We should be happy with that.
And that is
when Ange first came and we done well for those 10 games, I can only remember 3 games where we played well. Arsenal,
United.
No, we could have been two down at half time against United.
Yeah, 3 down.
I thought we did really well against United.
This is the thing with
well,
revisionism, isn't it, Lubo? This is the thing with revisionism from fans. This is the problem.
Aston Villa. So,
but Mass, that's what I'm afraid. Same thing is going to happen that happened under Ange, right? We got lucky in a lot of those games. People were losing their minds that we're going to win the league, and then we spiraled. Right?
No, because it's different. Because Frank is a proper football manager, not a PE teacher, right? And the other teams aren't going to suss out his tactics. He's been in the Prem now for what, 5-6 years or 5 seasons, right? The guy knows what he's doing.
But we have questions.
I'm going to flip it now. My reservations with Frank, right, is I don't know whether he can genuinely take us to that next level. I don't know whether he's got a high ceiling like a Conte would, or like a prime Jose, or like
what's the level right now? What are your expectations?
It's too early. I'm not going to judge. Look,
what are your expectations, Eugene?
No, but
what are your expectations?
So that's why I
play
think
well against teams we should beat.
We disagree because maybe expectations are different.
Benji, can I just ask? I've got to ask this question. Do fans have any common sense here at all to realise that we've got a manager that's come in, picked up a shit show, and he's got to change everything about the club?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I get that.
Well, no, Benji, you're saying yes, of course, but all of your answers aside from yes,
I'm still entitled to say we've played poorly.
Sure.
It's an observation, and you can't tell me you don't agree with that.
No, playing poorly, Benji, right? Sorry, Sav, right? Playing poorly means that you're under the cosh, you've got no possession of the ball, you're making mistakes left, right, and centre. The players don't know what to do. That's playing poorly. We haven't seen that under Frank.
What did I say at the beginning of the season? And Lubo will back me up on this more than anyone. And Dan,
we're going to have ups and downs,
right? We said, didn't we, Lubo, at the beginning of this season, there are going to be a lot of ups. There are going to be a lot of downs. Don't expect the football to be brilliant every week because this guy needs a season to weed out the shit players, to implement his own process, and he's got to fix the defence and the midfield and the attack, right? He's come in. We've been bloody good at the back in the main. If you actually look at what we've conceded, we don't concede too many, we don't get outplayed and conceded too many goals. Like today against Villa, we were a better team against Villa. We had a lot of time in their half, right? We got a lot of opportunities where we got into their box where the Tells and the Odebers don't get their shot away or they make the wrong decision. But when we go, we didn't play well, that's very subjective. I thought we played well today from a controlling the game point of view. I didn't feel like Villa were at any point overpowering us. I didn't feel Vicario had a single thing to do other than pick the ball out the net twice. He didn't have anything to do in the game at all other than that, right? And this is the problem. When we're going, there's only 1.5 games you played well, 3 games. I don't think there's been 90 minutes of great games. But I'm going to throw this back to you. Who does play 90 minutes of great football? I've watched a lot of Arsenal this year. I've watched a lot of City this year. I've watched a lot of Liverpool, Newcastle. None of these teams are dominating for 90 minutes. They're having good spells. They're having bad spells. But you know what the difference? Those clubs have had their managers for years. Those clubs have had their managers for years to implement the way they play, their process. Our managers had 3 months. Our managers had 3 months and we're going, we're not playing well. Well, we didn't play well last year and lost 26 games in all competitions. We're not going to lose 26 games this year. I think you guys, I don't know what you're expecting. I don't know what you're expecting.
Is last season, we was absolute dog shit. End of. Period. No ifs, no buts. And we had a good game here or there. So far, and it's sort of justifying what you said, basically, Savva, that there's going to be ups and downs. There's been games where I think we've looked pretty poor. There's been games where I think we've actually looked good. And I would say overall, I think we've looked pretty average, which on last season is a massive improvement. So at the moment, I'd say we are okay, which is okay. From last season, that's a massive improvement. There's a lot of room there for improvement.
Dan, by the way, we're 1 goal away today, Dan. We were 1 goal away.
I agree.
Right, from being second in the league table.
Yeah,
and you
I totally agree.
Still think it's shit. Like that.
No, I don't think
we've had shit games.
I think we've had shit games. I think we've had good games. And I think overall, we've been okay. if you want to suss it out on the most.
Dan, how many good games have we had?
And then on the side of Frank getting sussed, yeah, maybe Frank has been sussed a bit because he hasn't got that much option. If I'm going to play against Spurs, I'm going to turn around and say, right, how do I suss out Frank? Or how do I suss out Spurs? Right, I'll take Kudus straight out the game, job one done, and I'll focus straight on Porro because he can't defend some lot more money. There you go. So is that Frank being sussed, or is it just that we really haven't got the options to change it? Or we have got the options to change it to 3 at the back, 4 in the middle, whatever else. This is where we're going to see what changes up until Christmas or after Christmas. So with him getting sussed, I think a couple of times we have been sussed. Yeah, take Kudus out of the game, job done. No threat up front whatsoever, basically. Agreed. And then aim for Porro, who is a liability in defence because he is not a bloody defender. He's an excellent wing-back, but defence-wise, he's just like a Trent, basically. He's not there as a right-back. He is not an inverted right-back. He is a wing-back, and that a wing-back's job is to do a little bit of defending, but mainly to be a deeper winger and get forward and get that ball into the middle. So in some aspects, you could say he has been sussed a bit, but that's because he hasn't got much option of what else to put there. And in other ways, yeah, we've played good, we've played bad, and in general, I'd say we've been okay this season, which is still significantly better than last season.
And Dan, only 3 teams have conceded less than us, and only 3 teams have scored more. Right? We're 6th in the table, 2 points off second. I don't see, like, surely this is where I question you, Eugene. This is where I really question you. Didn't you think we were going to need some period of uncertainty and like up and down? And did we think that Thomas Frank was going to come in and we're just going to go? Like,
hold on. I never expected us to beat City. I didn't expect us to beat Bournemouth. I didn't expect us to beat Brighton because those are good teams. Look, when you say we're 3rd in goals scored, again, 4 own goals, I get it. You got to score the way you score. Hold on. But my point is, those stats are misleading. Today we had 3 shots on target.
Not misleading. Did they count? Did the goals count?
But if you look at
did the goals count?
Play, of course they count. And
so why are they misleading?
Because we are struggling to score from open play in most of the games. Vast majority of the games. I'm not saying it's because of Frank. We have
No, I'm not saying you are. But I'm just going to prove you wrong because you keep waffling. This is the problem. When you waffle, this was before today's game. Only 1 team had scored more goals from open play than us.
4 own goals.
But Eugene, you do realise, Eugene, that we won a European trophy last year with an own goal.
But I'm not, again, why are we
is it not okay saying we've not played well?
I'm not saying that those goals don't count.
Well, that's a good point, Nevo.
Is it a fair comment? Is it straight?
It's a one-off game. I'm not saying those goals don't count.
Right, they all count. Let me tell you something. We were terrific at Brighton. It was wave after wave of attack. And I think Kudus put a ball in and it came off the Brighton centre-back and we got the equaliser. It doesn't matter how they go in. Let me just try and sum up. I just want to put 2 points across for Eugene and Benji. Firstly, in terms of we haven't played well, done this, I think away from home, we've been very, very good. I think we've been really good. None of them are easy. West Ham, that's their cup final when we go down there. They raise their game they can be crap. They raise their game against us. Leeds, the atmosphere, the fans get behind them. It was pouring with rain. Very easy for Spurs not to roll their sleeves up. They rolled their sleeves up and they grafted last week and they dug out a really good win. And if they hadn't given away that stupid goal, Spurs were so far in control in that game before Leeds brought it back to 1-1. The other thing I also want to say is that I'm sure we will buy better players in the next, if not the next window, the second window in the summer.
Let's hope.
I'm sure, and you guys, for a 2-part question, if we had those players who we're going to buy, just say in January, we pick up Fofana and Tony, and they click and they hit form. You're looking at it and you're thinking, do you know what? Blimey, Frank could have done with those in September and October. And you're thinking, cool, what a difference having those better players would have made to now. And you'll be saying the same next season when our results will be even better. And you'll be saying, Jesus, this is an improvement on last year. Can you imagine if Frank had these players 12 months ago?
Yeah, but Ian, we're saying that, mate.
Hang on, Dan. You've got to consider what we've got. That's my point. You've got to consider what we've got and how short we are. And you cannot expect a guy coming in and picking up a team that's 17th, lost 26 games last season. 26. I've never ever seen that. We didn't lose 26 the year we went down. We lost 21 in the league and 2 cup games. We lost 23 on a 42-game season. That was as well. We lost 26 games. No organisation. What wide open? 20 shots going in to Vicario every single game, and all of a sudden we've lost 2 in 12. We're 2 points off second place. I think personally, when I look at the squad, I think Frank is overachieving. Getting us in.
What I would say, Ian, right, is that I am a little bit concerned though why Frank is persisting with the 4-3-3 when we're certainly when we're in the attacking phase of play, because I just don't think it works, because our forwards aside from Kudus are just so bad. So I would rather him change up the formation to move some of those players away from that attacking area of the pitch.
I agree.
And force some of our better quality players to be more involved in that, i.e. a Simmons.
Yep.
No,
that is within Frank's control.
I agree with you there, Maz. I agree with you, Maz, on what you said there, yeah? I mean, the point I'll make with it, again, I think overall we've been good, we've been poor, and in general we've been okay, yeah? But I must admit, I do think it is quite criminal for a manager to play Tel and Odegaard at the same time, when there is actually an option of when he can take at least one of those players, or both of those players even out of the team, or at least one of them, let's say one of them. Well, let's say one of them, yeah? Well, I said earlier in a 3-4-2-1, you can at least take Tel or Odegaard out the team. Whoever we put up front is sceptical, flick a coin on it. But playing Tel and Odegaard together, I must admit, I do think that is a bit criminal. And I do think if he did change it, again, it's an opinion, but if he changes it to a 3-4-2-1, you can at least have Savva to create the goals there. Kudus can easily hold his place there, in my opinion. I think he's proved it. I think we know he's good enough. Okay, better out on the right, but overall, at least you then get to take Odegaard, Richie, or Tel out the game. Who you stick up front can go to who we've got. Have we got Moane? Have we got Richarlison? Have we got Tel? Whoever we're going to put there. But putting Odegaard and Tel, 2 players that bloody weak in that team at a time, you're asking for trouble, in my opinion. So with that, you change it to a 3-4-2-1. I totally agree. I totally agree. But if he changes the formation a little bit, he can at least take one of those diabolical players out of the team
can I ask you a question,
make it a bit better.
When we say this, have we ever thought that maybe Frank doesn't think that Simmons and Kudus can play together in a 3-4-2-1? I'm just asking. Like when we say it's that simple, I've not seen him play a 3-4-2-1 before. I thought that maybe he doesn't think that we've got the personnel to play the 3-4-2-1.
Maybe not. Maybe not. But then that's like me ask. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. But then on devil's advocate, I can also ask: did he buy Simmons for his left winger, or did he buy Simmons for his number 10? We don't know. It's a skeptical decision, basically. Question.
I mean, we can't do what we did against
playing with a 3-4-2-1. You at least get to take one of the dog shit players out of the team, because them 2 are fucking awful. At least you get to take one of them out. So maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. The thing I can tell you for a fact is that today it did not work with them 2 up there, yeah? Maybe if it went a different way, it would work. But that's always buts and maybes. But if buts and maybes you can question, the only fact I can give you is that it did not work today with Tel and Odegaard there, because they are both that poor.
Well, I think, Dan, do you not agree that Tel's not in the squad for Wednesday's game against Monaco?
Let's hope so.
So Solanke's not fit. Moane's not match fit, because he's only good for maybe 20 minutes, evidently. So he's playing Tel at centre forward because he doesn't want to run the risk of Richie getting injured and not having a centre forward available for Wednesday's game in France.
Okay.
So I understand why he picked Tell, and I thought Tell actually had his best 45 minutes. I know it's a low bar, but I thought he had his best 45 minutes for the club before he got injured at Leeds, and he took his goal well. So he
touched the ball 13 times.
Okay, but listen, you go on momentum, don't you? I think Frank was talking about momentum in the pre-match.
I agree why he started today, Lubo. I agree why he started today, but I feel like before the game, one of the things that lots of people were talking about was, all right, you got your goal. Everyone said you needed the goal for confidence. Cool, you've got it. Fair play. Let's start you again. You've just scored a couple of goals during international break as well. Brilliant. And then you see him play like that, and you go, "What are we doing here?" Like, I'll put this out there right now. If Matisse Tell played for a championship club up front, he wouldn't get 20 goals a season.
Well, the funny thing is, Solanke's getting better by the week, isn't he?
But, right. Tell is making Solanke look like he's world class. That's how bad Tell is for me. That he's actually now making a very average Dominic Solanke look like, when he comes back into the team, like we've got a worldie. That's how bad he is.
I mean, the other problem is we've got the option up front of who do you actually want to play up front when you got the option, Tell or Richarlison? I mean, bloody hell, I might as well get out a sawn-off shotgun and just,
To be fair to Richie, at least Richie can get 10 to 13 goals a season. So
can he? Yeah. Since he's been at Spurs, can he? The question is with it, for me, is I look at it and I think, right, how can I get the worst players out of the team? And he has played a 3-5-2. He's done it many occasions and that. We played that sort of formation against PSG, which I think is where we looked at our best. Okay, it's Skepta again. You could say PSG weren't on form. I don't think he got the subs right on the day, but I think that is how we played. That is how we looked at our best. I don't think the players have changed in any means or manner in the position. We've improved in what we have got in certain bits, but overall as a squad, we have not improved. We have not changed to change a different formation in any way. And a lot of the people agreed with me after I've been saying it for nearly 2 years, that this team is made for a 5-2-2-1, 3-4-2-1, whatever you want to call it.
Can I tell you my worry? Can I tell you my worry, Dan? My worry, and this is no matter what formation we play, my worry is that when people like these two say, we haven't played well, I don't think that for the football that these two want to see, I don't think we've got the personnel that play that type of way. Maz, myself and Lubo talked about this at the beginning of the show. If you want to be a team that dictates games and has a lot of the football, you need people that put their foot on the ball and play. And unfortunately, Dan, for me, I don't think we've bought them. We've not bought those players over the year. You look at it, Paulinho, who's our best midfielder, is a destroyer, right? After that, none of those midfielders are number 8s that put their foot on the ball and say, you know what? Let's control the tempo of a game. I'm going to dictate the flow. Tottenham don't have that. So I've got a feeling that, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Dan, about formation change. I'm not. I've just got a feeling that whatever formation we see, we're going to be a very reactive team because we do not have possession-based footballers in this squad. That is a huge issue.
That I can agree with. At the moment, I do think there's going to be a lot of change personally, and I do think we've got a good manager there. And I'm going to wait until the end of the season before I make a full personal assessment of him, before a full opinion. But I can only judge game by game at the moment. But I think the other thing you can say about Frank at the moment, what I think he showed at the minute, is he is more of a reactive manager as such. And again, I agree with what you're saying.
Players to be proactive.
No, I don't think we've quite got that quality to do that. I think if you put it from the halfway line backwards, yes, we have. If you put it up front, I don't think there's many teams that would be.
Agreed, Dan. And this is my point. So when I've got people say, "Oh, his subs were awful. He's done this," who are you bringing on for who that would have been the right decision today? Who are you bringing on? This guy literally.
His options are limited. And I do agree with that.
This is my problem, Dan. My problem is that whatever he does, right? Whatever he does, people go, got that substitution wrong. when is ever the right substitution, Richarlison or Brennan Johnson or Papa? Like that, these are not top footballers that you're bringing off the bench to affect a game. These are footballers that should be replaced in our squad. And that is my worry, is that we keep doing this with him. Oh, he got his subs wrong. What sub should he have done today, anyone?
I think
what subs could he have done?
I think the problem is bigger than that. I think the problem is, and I look at the way he sets up away from home, and you look at 10 points out of 12, and I look at the way he sets up at home and the performances, which I agree with Eugene and Benji. For me, you should have actually split between home performances and away performances, because I think the away performances have been far better. And I think that the team that he picks with Paleni and Bentancur away from home is far better. The setup, he sets up far better for the away games, and you can see with the results that we're getting. The problem is, and I don't want to see Bentancur with Paleni at home. I think that's too defensive, and we need players who are more progressive.
Depends who we're playing, Ian.
Let me ask you.
The problem we've got is up front. If we had better players up front, I think he would take the risk. I say the risk a bit more, and he throw Bergvall in. He might throw Gray in, whatever. But based on who he's got now, at the moment, unfortunately, the build up at home is so slow with Paleni.
Okay, but I'll ask you again. I asked this at the beginning of the show. It's all well and good saying that, right? That it's too defensive. Aston Villa came to Tottenham today with 3 very strong physical midfielders, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're saying is we wanted Palhinha to play in the 6 on his own, and then the bloke next to him was going to be a box-to-box midfielder, right? Because now what you've got is either one of Sarr or Bergvall that plays alongside him, both like to drive forward with a ball. And what they do is they're both very good, by the way. You look at the stats and the data at giving the ball away when they drive forward with it. Now you've got Palhinha against Kamara, McGinn, and Onana all by himself. So it's a real delicate balance. And again, the problem is, Lubo, I've said this, I will say this till I'm blue in the face. There is not one ball-playing midfielder in this squad. So when we're saying, are progressing the ball through the midfield, who can progress the ball through midfield? Name them. Yeah. I keep asking, and no one can give me an answer.
The closest we've got.
Thanks for having me on, Savva.
Thanks, Maz.
Appreciate it, mate. Good to see you all.
Who can progress the ball through the midfield? I keep hearing we need to do this. No one can give me an answer.
It depends how you want to progress the ball through midfield. If you want someone to get the ball and actually run it forward, who do you have? Bergvall, hit and miss when it comes to that, basically. I think Bergvall's improving game by game in general and that, but I still think there's a bloody long way for him to go, because I think on the final third, he don't deliver majority of the time, i.e. pass, shoot, whatever else. But up until that point, he does good. This is where he's a young player and there's a lot of room for improvement, and he will improve, I think, yeah? And then we got other options there. Sarr, okay, on his day can kick the ball up front, whatever, but he's not exactly great at dribbling with the ball. He's just good at getting that ball and getting somewhere with it. What does he actually do on the final third? The majority of the time, again, leaves a lot to be desired. You've got Bentancur there who can do a good direct ball, but hasn't really got any pace on him to take the ball forward, whatever else. I think the closest we've got to anyone who can actually get that ball, run forward with the ball, and actually deliver a decent direct ball left, right, or middle is actually Basuma when you play him the right way.
Right. Dan, and I don't disagree with you, but this is my point, Dan, right?
No, I'm agreeing with you.
No, I know you are. No, mate, Dan, I know you are. This is my point. When people talk about that midfield's too defensive at home, well, first and foremost, when a team is coming with a 3-man midfield that doesn't include a playmaker, right? 3 big, strong central midfielders, and people are going, I'd stick a Bergvall next to him. Yeah, let's stick a bloke next to him who doesn't have any positional sense and stay in his number 8 position. You're just going to be wide open all game, like Eugene was, like Bodo Glimt. Bergvall played midfield against Bodo Glimt, and every time that boy went forward with a ball and lost it, you watched Bodo come back in our midfield and Bentancur's there on his own going, what on earth are we doing? And then everyone goes, Bentancur's not very good in the 6. Well, no, because the 2 players alongside him have buggered off up the pitch. And this is the problem. If we do not buy a number 8, if you do not buy a number 8 who wants the ball, who controls the game, Arsenal have got 2 or 3 of them that do it. Liverpool have got players that do it. Newcastle have got Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes that both do it. Right? Chelsea have got Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, all very comfortable on the football. Lavia as well. If you don't buy that player, we are always going to struggle to be a possession-based football team. Whenever we have been a possession-based football team, who have we had in the team? Michael Carrick did it for us. Luka Modric did it for us. Moussa Dembele did it for us. Right now, we haven't got anyone that can do that job. And Bergvall, this is the problem. When Eugene tells me he can progress the ball, he's good at driving forward with it, but there's no end product that lasts in the final third, like you say, Dan. Right? And he's not a number 8. You can shake your head.
I never said that, Savva. No, I never said that. I said, as Lubo said, hold on. As Lubo said, at home against the Wolves, compared to Bentancur, I'd rather see Bergvall and Palhinha, because Bergvall offers something in attack that Bentancur does not. When
Bergvall
we play away,
in attack. That's not true.
I think,
give me. No, don't think. Give me evidence.
As you said, he's a runner.
This is the problem. There's too much. I think he does this, but he factually doesn't. His passing in the final third is very, very poor. He doesn't. He's got one goal, right? He doesn't get assists, right? What people like about him, Eugene, is he drives with the ball and it looks really nice. He's driving with the ball, but then nothing comes of it, and you're wide open in midfield. Now, if that happens and we're wide open in midfield, people like you then have a go at Thomas Frank. Oh my God, look how wide open we are in midfield. Well, that's what happens when you have a player that drives with the ball. And this is why we have not bought properly again. We've bought these players with no plan in mind. Papassar does the same thing.
What do we need?
I don't think anybody's arguing that Bergvall is ready to play for us. He's a good player. My whole point was, again, at home against teams like Wolves, there is no reason playing Palhinha and Bentancur together. As Lubo said, away or against top teams, yes. But against teams, especially when we struggle in the final third, I would rather have a runner like Bergvall to give us an extra dimension than Bentancur playing safe balls. Against teams like Wolves, unnecessary.
What's that extra dimension? Because Bergvall played versus Wolves and did the square root of nothing. What's the extra dimension?
He came off the bench with 20 minutes left, 15 minutes left.
And actually, we looked half decent when he came on.
He takes the ball, he pushes the ball, Savva.
We were better when he came on.
He pushes the ball.
He drives.
He drives with the ball.
Pushes the ball. What does that mean?
He drives forward with the ball when nobody else does.
I can't hear him. You keep cutting over his sentence. I can't hear what he does. What with the ball?
He picks up the ball and drives with the ball. Nobody
and then does
else.
What with it when he gets in the final third?
He tries at least to do something.
Tries what?
He tries to make something happen in the final third.
But he doesn't make things happen in the final third. Now, here's the difference. Bentancur today got in the box, got his goal. Palhinha got an assist today because he got in the box. These players offer more than him going forward, but because they don't run up there like maniacs, it gets overlooked.
You cannot compare Bentancur's goal again of a set piece, basically. When was the last time that he scored?
Wasn't off a set piece.
So are you saying, Savva, that Bentancur in open play, he does more than pass sideways and slows the game down? Against some teams, yes, he should.
Okay, Eugene, let me ask you a question quick.
I showed you the other day the data for both Bergvall and Bentancur for progressive passes and passing the ball forwards, because you told me Bentancur doesn't pass it forward, and he passes it forward 100 times more than Bergvall does.
Are you saying Bentancur does get the game down?
Okay, Eugene, let me ask you a question on this then with Bergvall, yeah? Now, I'm a firm believer that Bergvall is a good young player and there is a huge room that he's going to improve in. I personally think he is. Do I think he is good enough for our first team yet? I don't think he should be, but we are very limited for choice as such, yeah? I think we should have significantly better there ready. Okay, but he gets the ball and he presses forward with it very well, yeah? And you'd say he gets proper forward with the ball, wouldn't you? Yeah? So with someone who gets that forward with a ball and presses as good as you're saying, shouldn't he have a higher goal ratio and a higher, set up more goals? So
he's
then that shows you...
Yet. I agree. He's not good enough. But
there's a problem there then.
My issue with Bentancur is, again, against certain teams, he picks up the ball, and when we're supposed to go in transition, he slows things down and passes the ball sideways or back.
He plays
I think all your team's trying to say is that Bergvall's more attacking minded.
Yeah,
Bergvall runs forward more with a ball.
Suggest that.
Bentancur is a deep line playmaker. He always bloody was, yeah. And one thing he's always been pretty good at is a direct ball forward. He was never the one who took the ball forward. He was the one who'd look up and say, right, direct to the number 10. That's my job done. Number 10, you're the playmaker. You do your stuff, yeah? But if we haven't even got a bloody playmaker, he does actually get the ball forward quite a lot. It's just he doesn't pass it as left and right, as people say. He actually does do a forward ball, but a lot of the time, there isn't actually an option there for him to put it to a lot of the time, because we haven't actually got a solid number 10 now, or even when we did, the number 10 was always totally boxed out the bloody game. Bergvall, yes, he's very good at running forward with it, but there's no end product of it. The closest we've got of someone who can actually charge the ball forward and deliver a pass is actually Bissouma.
But Bissouma has his brain farts on the other end.
Yeah, but Bissouma, every time he got played the right way, actually looked a good player. Where was about 80%? And now I'm not saying Bissouma should be in the team anymore, because I think mentally he does leave a lot to be desired, and I think he's had his chance. But if we're going to be totally honest, and you want to go by stats and that, Bissouma looked terrible on many occasions. Why? Because each manager he's had, Barfrey, has played him in a defensive manner. And one thing Bissouma has never ever been as a footballer in his life is a defensive mentality footballer. Where was 80% of his mistakes made? And where was 90% of his crazy tackles and penalties given away? All in defensive options. When Ange did decide to play him as a box-to-box going forward, because you got a box-to-box more defensive and a box-to-box more going forward, when we actually played him as a box-to-box going forward, like in Europa and that, he actually had pretty solid games each time. But majority of the time, he got played as a more defensive box-to-box who sits deeper, sort of covers a DM role at the same time and goes a bit forward with it. He looks terrible because he's not a defensive player. We are very, very limited in that position, basically. I do agree with you there.
Honest, Dan, can we be honest? The fact that we're all arguing about this shows us that we haven't bought the quality we need, right? If we're going to be brutally honest, right, we're talking about neither of the two players we're talking about do the same job. Neither of them are number 8s that put their foot on the ball and dictate the tempo of the game. And this is the point. You've got one player who I think had a very good chance of being a very top footballer, but the injuries killed him and we'll never know. And you've got another one who's at the other end of his journey, who for me still has to find out what he is, learn, grow, develop, but has been put on a pedestal. But again, it shows these are the options we're talking about. We're talking about who should play alongside Paulinho, somebody that's been savaged by injuries, either Gray or Bergvall who are kids, Sarr who just runs around a lot, if we're going to be brutally honest, and Bissouma who can't stay fit and is not really fancied at the club. Then we've got people going, Spurs don't really play very good football. Well, yeah, look at as I've said, look at the midfield options, right? Now look at the number 9 options up front who can hold it up to help link up and play. Now look at the left wing options. And then people are going, we haven't played well. I wonder why. I wonder why we're not playing well. Now, when Thomas Frank gets his players, look at what he had last year, Dan, right? Going forward last year, when Brentford scored, I think the 4th amount of goals in the league, something like that. He had Wissa, who he bought and had time to work with, right? And Buemo, who he bought and had time to work with. Damsgaard, who he bought and had time to work with. And Kevin Schade, who he bought and had time to work with. And they were explosive going forward. All direct running, all scored goals, all got assists, all knew the way. Right now, he's downgraded from that 4 to the 4 he's playing with at Tottenham Hotspur. Let that sink in. The 4 he had at Brentford were better than the 4 he's currently got at Tottenham Hotspur. Let that sink in.
We are very limited for styles we can basically play for. Again, we didn't get any players that changed that team in the aspect of the style, the way it can play. Yeah, we got players that improved certain positions. But again, it was like what I said last season. One of the problems Ange had was, apart from the way he wanted them to play football, and it's still the problem we got now, sort of thing. There's not exactly a player, maybe a position, but overall where you can say, right, I need to change this round a bit. I'll bring on another midfielder that plays a total different way to that midfielder. That's all we've got, is another midfielder that plays basically exactly the same way as that midfielder, except maybe presses a little bit more or defends a little bit more. We haven't really got anyone where you can totally change the structure around, because the players are exactly the same player for player. And that's not necessarily a good thing to have. Yeah, all right, it's good to have another DM there who plays solid DM if that one gets. But if you want to change the role of the game as such, and you're realizing you need a bit more pace or a bit more this or a bit more that, we haven't really got many players in each position that play very different to the players we've already got there. It's very the samey sort of thing.
But then again, Frank can try to do what he did against PSG. He can set us up like that at least one time and see if the shortcomings in the player area, at least he can,
No, I agree. I agree with that.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, right? He is supposed to be adjusting to every team he plays. At least that's what he was doing before. That's what we were told.
You can't change the system every game. Like, we've got to, I think when we're talking about a coach, it can't be 1 week you're 4-4-2, the next week you're 4-2-3-1, then you're 3-4-1-2. You've got to try and find some consistency and change when you're desperate.
But we played already that formation once, so I'm assuming they know how to play it since he played it already. So at least try it one more time.
It's surely, though, the difference is, and this is something we've got to take into account, when you're playing it against PSG, do we all agree? Like, let's be fair, right? When we play PSG at PSG, I fully expect Spurs to do that again, because I fully expect PSG to probably have about 80% of the football, right? If we're going to play Barcelona right now, I would fully expect Frank to do that, because Barcelona will probably have about 80% of the football. Problem is, if you set up that way against teams that don't want a lot of the football, it can be problematic. It can be problematic if you set up in that way against teams that don't really come at you and don't have a lot of the football. You've now got two teams where there's both are standoffish. I feel like you've got to pick and choose your moments for it. I really do.
Sorry.
I don't think we were bad today. I don't think we were bad today in general. Where we are bad is the final third. In that final third, I mean, Brennan Johnson blazed one over the bar, didn't he, with 2 minutes to go, right? Odegaard poked a shot at the chest of whichever, De Konza, whatever it was. You had, you're on mute, Lubo. You're on mute. Lubo, you're on mute. Lubo, you're on mute.
Milani missed the ball completely, didn't he? 6 yards out.
Milani missed the ball completely. Odegaard's shot straight into the ground in the first half. Matisse Tell at the back post, where he just had to keep his eye on the ball and volley it in, missed it. Kuda scored the offside goal. We got the goal. When you look at it like that, we were the better team. We were the team that created the chances. But we are so toothless up front. We are so toothless up front.
This is the result.
Can I ask everyone a quick question?
This is the result of 10 years of below average transfer windows.
I agree.
10 years.
I agree.
10 years.
People
Since
want it solved in one window from Thomas Frank.
You can't solve it in one window. You can't. You've had the odd. Poch's team from 2015. We bought Wanyama. I think a year later he came in, didn't he, for the last year at the Lane. You've had odd players that have come in like Romero, great buy for me, but there hasn't been a window where you've got three top class players like Toby, Dele, and who was the other one? Sonny, right? But you need that every single summer. You need to have 3 top players coming in every summer. I remember Arsene Wenger saying that the key is when you're building a team to build consistently but not go mad, because it's very difficult when it gets more than 3 to start integrating players in quickly, where you want to have players that come in and make a difference and hit the ground running. If you're going to have 5, 6, 7 players, I mean, look at Slot's now got his team in now. He's bringing.
So what you're saying, Ian? Sorry, just to let me understand what you're saying. So we shouldn't have bought more than what we did then.
So we are suffering now, Dan, because we have neglected buying quality players consistently throughout all the windows.
Totally agree. But with what you just said there, if I understood it right, you're basically saying we shouldn't be buying more than 3 players for that first team because you don't want to
once we're up and running.
No, I think
okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah,
okay. I was just asking to understand.
Yeah. Once we put right and we've got back to where we should be, then you're going to pick up 2 or 3 players.
Makes sense. Makes total sense. I get you. I was just asking because I wasn't sure at the point you was getting with it.
Can I ask you a very quick question, boys? I'm interested to know your opinion. Do you think that part of our playmaking issues may also be down to the fact that Xavi has had a poor start to life at Tottenham? Because he was brought in to playmake. Question.
Was he?
Yeah,
I believe so. I believe so.
What else can he do if he doesn't playmake? What else is his?
Don't you think a lot of it depends on its partnerships, right? Like a lot of it depends on. Let's be fair. If you're looking at a front 4 linking up, if you're looking at the playmaker, the 2 wide men and a striker, right now the only one he can pass a ball to and know he's going to get it back and play 1-2s with is Kudus, right? He's looking at Odegaard on the left, knowing nothing's going to happen. He's looking at Tell through the middle, knowing nothing's going to happen. Now, this isn't excusing him. He for me has got all the hallmarks of a player that will come good, but I think needs half a season to really settle into.
But he has been very poor, noticeably poor.
Sure, but we saw against Brighton he was excellent. We saw against Leeds he created 3 or 4 really good opportunities. So I think we're going to see bits where he's good, bits where he's bad, and I think he's going to need time to acclimatise. But we know the quality is in there. But you've got.
I'm not digging him out. I just.
No, I know.
There's been a couple of games where even the commentator has been taking a piss out of him, where he couldn't even get.
Basically, overall, what you're saying, Ben.
For me, it's his movement as well. His movement is terrible in the centre.
Benji, I don't know if you remember against Wolves, he played in the Paxton end. He played a lovely ball in. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Sartel. Played it back, played a 1-2, and he came onto the ball on the edge of the box and hit the ball just wide. And that's the sort of thing that he will build. That's the sort of partnerships and movement that he will build as he gets into. You've got to remember,
for sure.
You look at Florian Wirtz, can't even get into Liverpool's first 11, 116 million. You know, everybody thought brilliant. He's had a fantastic season for Leverkusen, class player in the Bundesliga. He's come in and he's a bit lost.
It takes time.
He's struggling to come to terms with the pace and the intensity of the Premier League. And if you've got someone like him who's been an absolute star in the Bundesliga, then, you know, if someone, you know.
Lubo, he's also come into a new team that isn't settled without all the jigsaw puzzle pieces, right? Like you said earlier, I think, Lubo, right? And I agree with you on this. You said if in the January window, Spurs went out and signed, just for example, Ivan Toney and Malik Fofana.
Yeah. That
transforms our team.
Totally.
But what it also does is it raises the level of now Kudus's crosses are being connected with Ivan Toney rather than Matisse Tell, right? Now, Xavi Simons is looking up and going, I trust everyone on this pitch I can give the ball to. I trust Fofana. Right? I trust Ivan Toney because he can hold it up and bring others into play. And this is the key thing for me. Until we've got all the jigsaw puzzle pieces in play, I think it's really difficult. And I'll give Florian Wirtz his credit here. Liverpool are not playing well. Like everyone's going, Wirtz hasn't done well. Liverpool aren't playing well, are they?
No.
It's not a Wirtz problem. It's a.
Hey, sorry, Savva. I got to run.
Yeah,
thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
We're going to wrap up in the next 5 minutes anyway, guys. But it's not. Oh my God! Look how well Liverpool are playing, but Wirtz looks crap. Let's be honest. Isak's not started well there. We all know he's brilliant.
And right? Liverpool won 4 games in the last minute, Sav. They could be sitting on 7 points without those goals.
But Lubo, this is my point. When we've got everyone losing their mind about Spurs, Liverpool, the champions of England, who have just spent £440 million, right, have just lost 4 games in all competitions. Lubo, we've lost 2 in 12. Can you imagine what fans like Benji, I'll call you out, would be like if we lost 4 in a row? Can you imagine?
I may not have explained myself properly. I was just trying to get across that I do feel.
Benji.
No, I know. I feel like he can't be exempt from a bit of criticism because there's been a few times this season where we've all said his tactics have been a little
Everyone
bit.
gets criticism. Everyone does.
But make no mistake, I love Frank. I genuinely love Frank. I think he's great for the club. I think he's a brilliant manager. I don't know. I just wish I saw
there has been a couple of times. I think basically
I felt deflated coming away from games.
It's like Simmons. Simmons has basically been what Spurs have been this season. There's been times I think he's actually been good. There's been times I think he's been fucking awful. And I think in average, overall, if you want to round it off, I think he's been okay. Yeah. Whereas Kudus...
What do you make of him today, Dan? Xavi?
I thought he was pretty terrible today, if I'm going to be honest. I didn't even think he was okay today. I did not think he was good in any means or manner. But whereas Kudus, you can say he has blatantly landed on his feet. And at this moment in time, who knows what it'll be at the end of the season, but at this moment in time, I'd say he's been one of the top 3 buyers of the season at the moment. That might totally change over the next 20 games. At the moment, Simmons, I think it was another thing where I think too many people got too excited too bloody quickly, thinking that he was going to be a world changer, and he blatantly hasn't. Is he gonna? I think yes. I think in a bit of time he's going to improve. I think he's got to get used to that little bit more physicality, and it just overall, I think you can blatantly see there is a player there. It's not a disheartenment like when you look at Tell, like when you look at Odegaard, like when you look at Gray, and you just think, how the fuck are you even in the Premier League and at Spurs, let alone in the bloody team? Whereas with him, you can blatantly see there is a player there. Look, Bergvall, you can see there is a player there. And I just think Simmons has basically been what Spurs have been this season. He's been poor, he's been good, and he's been okay overall. And I think that's what Spurs have been. And there's definitely room for improvement, without a doubt. I think we will improve, but it's not going to be a 5-minute thing. We are going to have to give it a season or two to, one, see how well Frank, what he wants and how he's going to adapt his game and how he wants this team to end out. He's got to get some more players in there to maybe play the way he wants to play or whatever, if he does even want to change the formation or he wants them to actually do different things on there. And we're also going to have to wait until at least the end of next summer before we see how much business this squad really means, this club. Because January isn't going to show how much we actually mean in business-wise. It's going to give us a hint, basically. But we all know in January it's going to be bloody hard to do anything. It always is. It's not going to be until the end of next summer where we're actually going to see how much business this club really means. What does it really want to do? And it is also going to depend. If it starts, let's say we go into like 2024 games and it's starting to get worse, which at the moment it's been getting better than what we was. Even though we're okay, that's still significantly better than crap. Now, if it gets to 2024 games and it looks like we're actually going downhill to how we started, then I'm going to start questioning Frank, like maybe you need to do adapt your game a little bit because it's not working with what you're doing. But at the moment, we have improved on last season and it is going to take a bit of time before we can get the players in. When it comes to January, are we going to get that midfielder we need and that left winger we need? No, I don't think so. I think we'll do a normal Spurs thing and get one of them. So then you need to ask the question, was he given that option of a left wing or a number 10? Because he wasn't going to get both. Is he now going to get the option of a left wing or a centre mid? What one does he pick? What one do we need more? That one you can ask everyone a question and you'll get different answers. Only time will tell with this one. We have actually got to wait, basically, like it or lump it. But I do agree with what you said, Ben. Overall, I don't think we've looked particularly special this year. But just being okay is tenfold on what we were last season.
For sure.
What we have looked this season, we've looked resilient. We've got a good mentality. We've looked structured. We've looked organised. We've looked disciplined, and that's a pretty good start from where we were last season and the year before.
Yeah, people don't want to wait for the stages.
When you look at it,
It's hard though, boys, isn't it? It's hard when you just want
what?
to see your team succeed. So, you know.
Arteta's got a squad now.
You don't
No, I know,
succeed
Sam, I know. It's just, I'm just
12
saying, as a
games.
fan's perspective, it's hard because you just want to see your fucking team succeed all the time.
I agree with Phil, and I hardly ever agree with Phil. I think you're bang on. I think after this year, Phil, you're going to see this manager go. He's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to go. He's got to go. Listen, guys, I do need to wrap up. I've got to do some super chats. Just before I do the super chats, just so you know, Ornstein and Romano are both reporting that Sean Dyche is going to sign very soon as the manager of Nottingham Forest. My heart at this time goes out to Wolfie, who is it's the one he did not want. It was the very one. He said Mancini cool, Silva fine, not Sean Dyche. You got to laugh. Right, here we go. Let me do some super chats, and then we are gonna wrap up the show. I've enjoyed it. I was only meant to be going for 2 hours, but people asking what's going to happen to my Friday show with Wolfie. It's still going to go ahead. It's still going to go ahead. It doesn't stop just because Ange's left. Big up to Emma Morton, who put in a super sticker. Very generous as always, Emma. And thank you. You put one in earlier during my live watch along. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. Jordan, very, very generous. Not one £20 super chat, but two £20 super chats. The first one says, evening, fellas. The fact we're in for Savio in the summer and Johnson has been played left wing at times this season tells you what Frank thinks of Tell and Odegaard. Johnson ain't playing right wing over Kudus, and Richie is awful. I agree with all of that. I think he's trying to give Odegaard a game. But as we said earlier, Odegaard has 0 goals and 0 assists in his last 10 games. It's really, really poor. It's so poor. Big up to you, Jordan. The second one, you come in again. Thank you very much. Very generous. Says, when you don't have forwards who are consistently a goal threat or have midfielders who can dictate a game consistently, then games like today happen. Sorry. Yes. How you can expect consistent results if we don't have consistent players. Do you know, Jordan, I'm not being ungrateful. I'm going to remove this because I can't see myself or Dan. Absolutely. That is the point. When you look at the forwards we have and the midfield options we have, I don't expect this team to be a consistent team that plays well week in, week out. We have got to get to January and the summer, and we have got to address those problems. For example, if you stuck an Adam Wharton, an Ivan Toney, and a Malik Fofana in this team, we're finishing top 4. Right? If you stuck those 3 players in, you've got a very balanced football team with all the components that you need. Right now, we don't have the components that we need. Big up to you, Jordan. Really appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much. Big up to Dean Law, always doing the super stickers. Really appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much for your generosity. Much love. Big up to Adam Gill, who said, how bad must Scarlett be? Well, Tell and Richarlison are absolutely atrocious. So, yeah, it doesn't bode well for him. Big up to you, Adam. Really appreciate that. Big up to It's Joe, who's becoming a new member. Big up to It's Joe. We'll have a channel member only show this week. Thank you very much, buddy. Welcome. Big up to Boris, who said, so 24 GA for Solanke, 20 GA for Kulu, 22 for Madders, 23 for Son, 89 goals we've lost. There's last season's number under those 4. I mean, and let's be fair, we've replaced it with Kudus, and so far we've not seen Mawani. I mean, it's a lot of goals and assists. It's a hell of a lot of goals and assists. People were crying when Kane left. Look at this. This is all of these people are not playing football for Spurs right now. Big up to you, Boris. Really appreciate that. Big up to We Are Spurs TV. So Kudus has nobody to link up. We have slim pickings. And because he's got no one to link up with, like Dan said, they're putting 2 free bodies on him. They're trying to get him out of the game. Even with that, got a lovely finish today. I know it was offside, and put a lovely ball across that Matisse Tell had to do better with. So big up to you. Big up to Andy Lester with a super sticker. Much love, Andy. Really appreciate you. And big up to Phil Coys. Really appreciate you as well, my man. Thank you very much. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Really, really, really appreciate you. Thank you for joining the show.
Pleasure.
Thanks for having us on.
Okay.
That was
Anybody?
weird, wasn't it? Holy shit.
I didn't know whether you'd finished or not.
That's just what I
Yeah, I was just like, is anyone going to say anything?
I was expecting a sarcastic comment at the end of it. No, thanks for having us on.
No. And I'm going to send you over to. I'm going to send you over to Lee Gunner. Why not? I'll send you over to Lee Gunner. If when you get there, just say Savva Raid. Much love. Thank you, Lubo. Thank you, Benji. Thanks, Dan. Really appreciate you guys. Take care. I'll see you all tomorrow. Spurs 5 tomorrow as well. And as always, come on, you Spurs.